AM radio in cars, but time's running out. Please text the two letters AM to 52886 and ask Congress to bring this bill to the floor for a vote now.
Message and data rates may apply. You may receive up to 4 messages a month. Text stop to stop. A message from the station.
From the Ingalls Studios, this is ESPN Asheville, WPEK, W225CJ Fairview, WMXF Waynesville, and iHeart radio station.
Live from the Ingalls studio.
I can't wait to play with myself every day.
The Sportsocracy.
Damn the devil to hell! Let the big dog eat! Let him on the field!
Come get you some of this.
Fire them cannons! By golly, put more powder in those things.
He couldn't take any more disappointment.
Oh my God, the Jets killed him.
It is ESPN Asheville, 92.9 FM. 880 AM, 1400. The Sportsocracy is live in the Ingalls studio on ESPN Asheville, 92.9 FM, 880 AM, 1400. The Sportsocracy heard everywhere you go on the iHeartRadio app, seen everywhere on YouTube. Just go to thesportsocracy.com, click the live video link, subscribe to the channel. And that way you can join us in the chat. It is another wonderful day here in Western North Carolina as we prepare for the 2024 NFL season fantasy football marathon, continuing live from Mullet Manor. It is Flostradamus, Jeremy Green, who's already talking about making soup. It's not that chilly outside.
Well, I didn't say it was that cold. Look, it doesn't really matter to me what the temperature is outside because I don't go outside. People started talking about being cold, and I want soup. I'm pro soup.
Pro soup kind of guy. Are you like me? Does your oh wait, never mind. I was going to ask a stupid question and I can't go there. I was going to say, are you like me, and does your wife keep the place negative degrees? But no, it's you. You're the victim in your household.
I'm not a victim. I'm the happy one that likes to be cool. Because, see, here's the thing. You can put on a sweater. I can't peel my skin off. So.
Oh, it's absolute madness. Soup can be year-round if you keep your indoor thermostat set at 45 like Jeremy does.
It's not 45. It's just, okay, it's like 68.
Right.
And in a hotel room, it might be cheaper than that.
It's definitely lower than that in a hotel room. Anyhow,
I didn't drop it down. So Mullet Senior and HWA and I were in a hotel room Saturday night in Charlotte. I got so tired of listening to the complaining that I finally just set it on 70 and went, "Are you happy now?"
I'm sorry, I missed that last part. What did you say?
I said HWA and Mullet Senior and I were in a hotel room Saturday night. I set it on 70 because I got tired of the complaining. And then they both got woke up to the lovely sight of Jeremy's Barrackeister. And that's what happens when you make me set it on hot in the room, because now I'm not under a blanket anymore.
No, thank you.
See? Now knowing that, will you not let me set the AC on 65 and just shut up about it?
We don't have to like it. It could be, it could be soup weather for some of you. Chili time is just right around the corner. I usually have to wait 2 or 3 weeks into football season, though, before it'll get cold enough to where I can make a batch of chili. But from then on, it's championship chili every other weekend, at least, throughout the football season. Fantasy football season is here. We've been carrying on about sleepers and general strategies and things like that so far this week. With this being the midpoint of the fantasy football marathon, we're going to start position groups today. Wide receivers are up first. At the top of the wide receiver hall or group, Obviously, there's a lot of people who believe that CeeDee Lamb is the new number one. He was the new number one last year. Many expecting him to carry that on this year. Of course, he's locked in a contract battle, and I don't think there's any chance that they go into week one without him. Do you?
Not really, but I think there's a path that he starts slow because he has been away from the team the entire camp. I also don't love the fact that he's going to see double coverage every single time he's on a field. And that's why, for me, he's not my one. My top 6 is ridiculously close to each other. And you could sell me on about 6 guys as your one, and I wouldn't have a problem with it. Depends on your league settings. If you get bonuses for big plays, I really like the guy I have at 1 even more. If you get bonuses for milestones and things like that, 100 yards, 150 yards, different things like that, then I like other guys better. But across all different platforms, all different scoring systems, everything, my favorite receiver is Tyreek Hill. For one very basic reason. He's the one guy in the top 6 that hasn't had any kind of change to the offense he's in. No new coordinators, no new quarterbacks, no new second receivers, nothing. It's just lather, rinse, repeat, do the same thing I did last year. And so for me, Tyreek Hill is my one.
Okay. Justin Jefferson, he has been at the top of this group for a while as well. Obviously, he has to go through the whole Sam Darnold experiment. Everybody, well, not everybody, because Jeremy's a part of everybody, and seems to be alone in his Sam Darnold belief.
Well, I mean, the denigrating, we're going to talk about that when we get to Justin Jefferson, which it's not going to take that long. The denigration of him because of Sam Darnold is one of the dumbest things I think I've ever heard going into fantasy football seasons. Mm-hmm. And there's a very specific reason for that.
But he's the only one, really, that has personnel changes.
Oh, really?
Around him, isn't he?
Oh, really? So I'm looking at my top 6. And this is in no particular order. Fact or fiction, Amon-Ra St. Brown's quarterback just got paid.
Fact.
Okay, yeah. See, that changes things. It always has, and it always will.
Okay.
It just does. I don't know why it does. I'm not saying Jared Goff hadn't made money leading up to it, but now he's got a gajillion dollars. Mm-hmm. Jamar Chase has a new offensive coordinator. Fact or fiction?
Fact.
He also has a new number 3 wide receiver. Fact or fiction?
Mm-hmm. He does.
He also has a new running back. Fact or fiction?
Yeah.
A.J. Brown has a new offensive coordinator. Fact or fiction?
Mm-hmm.
CeeDee Lamb now has nothing around him except himself. And Jacob Turd Ferguson.
Was Tony Pollard.
He lost Tony Pollard. He lost Michael Gallup. Brandon Cook's got a year older, and at this point, he's aging at a rate that's usually reserved for dogs and cheese. Mm-hmm. That's the other guys in the top 6. They all have stuff. The only 2 in my top 10 that don't are Puka Nacua and Mike Evans. That's it. And even Mike Evans has a new offensive coordinator.
Yep. Okay. Does that kill any of these guys?
Kill them? No.
Do the changes make any of these guys or put any of these guys at risk of having a disastrous season?
Disastrous? No. I don't think any of them. There's no recipe that either of them have that any of them really have a disastrous season. Mm-hmm. Is there a possibility that it starts a little clunky or it's not as good as we thought it would be? Yes. Tyreek Hill has none of that. Tyreek Hill has the same coach. He has the same quarterback who, yes, he did get paid. And that is a change, especially for Tua, because he hadn't really made all that much money up to this point. But I don't know that it matters, because I've watched this system between the Jets, between the 49ers, and now between the Dolphins. I think Mike McDaniel is the best at calling this offense, and he still has Jalen Waddle on the other side, which hasn't hurt him in the least. He finished as wide receiver 2 last year. I don't really have any reason to think any of that's going to change. Oh, by the way, I don't think the defense is great. I think it's better. I think it will be better. But the schedule's evil. So they're going to get into shootouts, I think, quite frequently.
With more shootouts comes the more opportunity for the big plays, and that kind of steers back into the scoring system aspect of this. Because if you're getting bonus points for big plays, Tyreek's definitely at the top of the list.
No doubt. I mean, I look at, do you know, just out of curiosity, do you know how many 20-plus yard receptions Tyreek Hill had last year?
No.
29.
Oh, my.
He had 29 big plays last year. That's what ESPN, they consider 20-plus to be a big play. Yahoo, I know, considers it's 40-plus. He had 29. CeeDee Lamb's the only other one in the NFL that had that many. Brandon Ayuk had 28. Nobody else in the league had more than 25. There were only 12 guys that had 20. And secret time, every single one of them is on this list except the one that missed time.
Yeah. All right, so Tyreek Hill is at the top. And then where do you go?
2 is, to me, 1 and 2, there is a little bit of a difference between them. Because I have CeeDee Lamb at 2. And he's close to Tyreek. You could tell me there's a scoring system where I would prefer CeeDee Lamb to Tyreek Hill. It would be a very specific one. Because I am still worried. Look, you know I love Dak Prescott as a fantasy football quarterback, not a real-life quarterback.
Yeah.
I think there's a great possibility he finishes this year as the number 1 quarterback in fantasy football. If I take a quarterback outside of my zero quarterback theory, it will be that. It will be Dak. Because I don't like the defense. I think they shoot out a lot. And CeeDee Lamb's going to be the beneficiary of that. It does scare me a little bit that we still don't have the contract done. And Jerry came out yesterday and said they had what, constructive talks or something to that effect. Promising talks. Promising is good. I do like promising, but that's not enough to get me to stop wondering. There have also been reports about, I mean, and look, I don't think these are founded. I'm not saying I'm giving them any credence. But there have been reports about CeeDee to the Browns. There have been reports about CeeDee to a slew of other teams. Mm-hmm. I don't buy into that. But it is still there.
What would you have to give up?
Not as much as you think, but more than you would want to.
Okay.
Player-for-player trades are never as much as you think.
Mm-hmm. So this is this is the Amari Cooper swap?
No, God, no. It'd be way more than that. It's and again, I can't emphasize this enough. I'm not saying that's not what bumped him to 2. It was an extenuating factor in that there is still some instability here. Because if they don't get a deal done, he could straight up say, I'm not playing the first 5 weeks. Mm-hmm. I don't think we would get there. I don't really see a path that we get there. But it is out there.
Well, this is a fantasy ranking, right? And anything when you're splitting hairs here between the top 5, or in this case, the top 6 wide receivers in the league, we've already said that they're all so close together. You have to take everything into account. And the fact that he's missed all of the preseason tells me that there's a great chance that this could be a very slow start to the season. And I'm definitely taking him down a notch because of it. It doesn't mean that he's going to be a second-tier wide receiver. No, he'll still be up there. But I can't take somebody who's got a full season prognosis against somebody who I'm not sure how he's going to be ready to play. I think it's cautiously optimistic to have CeeDee Lamb at 2.
Well, I mean, I don't even think it's all that optimistic because, like I said, if you take CeeDee Lamb off the Dallas Cowboys, I'll go ahead and tell you that team's 5-12. I don't usually put that much stock into a position player, but when I look around Dallas and go, you have absolutely nothing else. I mean, can you name me another receiver on that roster other than Brandon Cooks?
Kevontae Turpin.
Who's a kick returner and is currently slotted as the 4.
Yeah. It's not great.
It's Jalen. They have a lot of dudes named Jalen.
Oh, yeah,
Jalen Tolbert, Jalen Brooks, and Jalen Marino Cropper.
Yeah, 2 of those Jalens I've never even heard of.
You've heard of 2 of them because I was really high on Jalen Marino Cropper coming out of Fresno State. And Jalen Tolbert was one that everybody talked about, and I liked him until I saw him and went, oh, you can only do that. You can only run in a straight line, and if I even breathe on you, that's enough to knock you off your route tree. Okay, yeah, I'm good. Yeah. They do have Ryan Flournoy, who had a big catch in the preseason game, and I liked him a lot. He's just super raw.
Soaring Eagle in the YouTube comments, very excited about Jake Ferguson's season, which coming up on Friday, Flostradamus will talk more about fantasy tight ends in that position group discussion. But he's got a good point. And especially if anything does happen to CeeDee Lamb or there is a slow start to the season, you better have Jake Ferguson for those first couple of weeks, because after CeeDee Lamb, he becomes the only skill position player that you can really rely on.
Well, I mean, and I'll go ahead and tell you, Jacob Turd Ferguson is higher in my tight end rankings than you would think. It's just I can't trust anything outside of that. And if anything happened to either one of them, their target share would go up, their double team rate would triple. Mm-hmm. If you don't have to worry about Jake Ferguson, I'm not worried about anything else. Brandon Cooks, I can throw one safety over the top, completely neutralize him. And so now it becomes I'm locking my number one corner. I'll give you an example. The team that I'm the closest to, the New York Jets. The Jets play sides. You know who they didn't play sides against? The Cowboys. Because CeeDee Lamb pushed them out of it. They had to run sauce on him. Had to. They didn't have a choice. And teams would do that more and more and more and more. And I think that would push CeeDee Lamb down even a little bit more for me. And that would get him into the territory of the guys we're getting ready to talk about.
Yeah. Still expect him to have a big season this year.
No doubt.
Again, could be a slow start. They can't figure out the contract though, and it does. It is a little irritating, I'm sure, for all Dallas Cowboys fans. I got quite a kick though out of the end of Jerry's statement yesterday about having promising talks. That it takes 2 to tango, and we both have to be in the same room. But the last part of the quote was, "It has the appropriate amount of priority for everyone involved." Trying to cover up when he said, "I'm not worried about it."
Hey, you remember that time I said that thing? Yeah, I was drunk. I was real drunk. Speaking of
amount of focus and attention from everybody involved, just so you know.
You mentioned our guy Soaring Eagle. He sent our first super chat of the day.
All right. Yeah.
There you go. It doesn't quite have the same gusto when you do it.
It doesn't. But
The feller that we mentioned that took Tyreek Hill at 6 overall, he then followed that up with Lamar Jackson, Joe Mixon, Brandon Ayuk, Stephon Diggs, and Travis Kelce.
Yeah!
I think we need to tell this feller what dynasty means because he doesn't seem to get it. That's the oldest dynasty team in the history of dynasty football.
Jeez.
You took 4 guys in a dynasty redraft that are 30 or older.
I see he's all about win now. He's just
Is he though? Is he though? Because I don't even like that to win now. You drafted old guys in a dynasty draft and still don't have a running back that I like. How exactly does one do that?
Sounds like a tank kind of draft to me.
I swear to you, that was what I responded with. Was that looks like something Tank Spitzer would do.
All right, you're in the Sportsocracy, and this is ESPN Asheville. The fantasy marathon rolls on here from the Ingalls studio when we come back.
And now, another insurance story from
Smart Bunny. Smart Bunny.
Wow, I wonder how much all this costs. Shh. Well, it can't be cheap. Do we even have enough for our own you-know-what?
Honey. Shh. I heard he bought final expense insurance through the Smart Bunny app.
The Smart Bunny app?
Like on your phone?
I know what an app is.
For the love of all things decent, be quiet.
Get up to $25,000 of lifelong coverage for funeral expenses, debts, and other needs for as little as $14 a month. And no medical exam is required. So hop on the Smart Bunny app now and grab some final expense insurance.
Honey, are you buying the insurance, like, right now?
Time is precious.
So true.
Smart Bunny Insurance.
Smart Bunny. Smart Bunny.
Your insurance super app. Insurance is sold by Smart Bunny Insurance Services and underwritten by various companies. Coverage exclusions and limitations may apply.
We need your help to protect your right to AM radio in your car. AM is always there in times of need with the key information for our community. The overwhelming majority of legislators support a bill to keep AM radio in cars, but time is running out. Please text the 2 letters AM to 52886 and ask Congress to bring this bill to the floor for a vote now. Text AM to 52886.
Message and data rates may apply. You may receive up to 4 messages a month. Text stop to stop. A message from the station.
Meet Cheryl. Hey. She's on vacation and lost in the moment. Unfortunately, so is her Chase debit card.
It's gotta be somewhere.
Maybe she lost it at salsa night.
These skirts should have pockets.
Or maybe she lost it at Pilates.
3 and 2 and...
But she's not worried. With the Chase mobile app, she can lock her card till it turns up. Tools that help protect. One bank that puts you in control. Visit chase.com/checking. Chase, make more of what's yours.
Chase mobile app is available for select mobile devices. Message and data rates may apply. JP Morgan Chase Bank, N.A. member FDIC.
Cullowhee is the place to be for the Catamount Football home opener on Saturday, September 7th at 1 p.m. as nationally ranked WCU takes on Campbell at Bob Waters Field, E.J. Whitmire Stadium. It's White Out Whitmire as all fans are encouraged to wear white. The first 5,000 fans get a free Whiteout t-shirt. Advanced ticket sales start at just $16 for adults and $11 for kids. For tickets, visit catamountsports.com or call 800-34-GO-WCU. Proudly sponsored by Ingalls Markets and iHeartMedia Asheville. Go Cats!
This summer, Dale's Pale Ale salutes freedom. Freedom in fabric, or the fabric of freedom. Denim Dale's available for a limited time in the blue jean box. Dale's salutes everyone who works hard, plays hard, and relaxes hard. Life's more than about what you pack in your denim. Though we're packing beer, so we win. Seize the Dales. Unwind in style with a cool breeze up the jorts. Just look for the beer in the blue jean box.
Do better, be better every day. That's the Parks Promise. This is JW with Parks Fort Hendersonville, and I'm so excited to introduce our first Parks Promise community hero, the American Red Cross of Western North Carolina. The need for blood is so important, and in the summer months, the need is even greater. Did you know that you can donate every 56 days? Save lives this summer. Head to redcross.org to schedule an appointment or find a blood drive near you. Congratulations to the American Red Cross, our Parks Promise community hero.
The Sportsocracy.
That is some good clean family fun there, ain't
We are back in the Sportsocracy on ESPN Asheville, 92.9 FM, 880 AM and 1400. The Sportsocracy is heard everywhere you go on the iHeartRadio app. And hopefully we got the microphone issues worked out here in the Ingalls studio. Hopefully that's better. Let us know in the YouTube chat if the level is better. Hopefully it's coming through better. On your side there, Flostradamus?
It was, and then it got quiet like instantaneously. So
shoot. I don't know what's going on, man. We'll get it figured out at some point. Fantasy football marathon continues to roll on here in the Sportsocracy. Talking wide receivers today. Top tier of wide receivers in the NFL. I mean, are we living in the greatest era of wide receivers ever? Because it seems like every year we get 2 to 3 entries into the, all-star team, basically.
Well, I mean, you got to understand why that is. If just think about it this way. If you're the kid, and we all know the kid, he's the fastest kid, he's the biggest kid, he's the kid that every one of us struggled to tackle when we were playing pee-wee football. What position do you want to play right now? It's either quarterback or wide receiver. I sure as hell don't want to be a running back. I don't really want to be a corner because every single year it gets harder and harder to play that position. So in terms of the skill guys that used to become running backs and corners, now they're all wide receivers. Just look at how few high-end corners we get every year. They're out there. They always will be. But not to the same level. I mean, last year I had a gajillion draftable wide receivers. And guess what? It happens again this year, too. Titaroa McMillan. Let me just go ahead. You're going to hear that feller's name a whole mess this year.
It's a guy who's going to win a bunch of games for Arizona.
I like Arizona a lot. I'm not going to lie to you. I went to the DraftKings Sportsbook and made an aggressive wager on Arizona over wins.
That is a great idea. I was doing that earlier today of just going through the different conferences and looking at everybody's over-under totals. Arizona was one of the best ones, I thought. Is it 7.5 wins?
Uh-huh.
And I think they only have two possible losses on their schedule.
Well, they have more than that because they did lose a lot last year. They return a lot, though, too, and they have a lot of high-end talent. They're also going to a new conference. I think they're on the road a lot. But 7.5, I did look at that number and go, if they lose 4 games, I'm going to be shocked.
Yep. I mean, the last few years, obviously, we've had Amon-Ra St. Brown come in and Garrett Wilson and Chris Olave and Puka and Tank Dell. And that's, every year, like I say, we're getting another set of great receivers. Justin Jefferson, C.D. Lamb, going back to Jamar Chase. This is a passing league, and the wide receivers are the hot commodity right now. I am interested to see at what point that ever flips, though.
Riddle me this. How's it going to flip?
I don't know, but this league always changes one way or the other. Maybe this is where we're at in perpetuity now. Is that this is forever going to be just the wide receiver league?
I mean, that's where I think it is because I don't see how what I just said is ever going to change.
Right.
I don't see how those elite players look at running back or look at corner or look at safety. I mean, the really big guys, you might decide to be an edge rusher. Other than that, the guys that tend to be really fast, 6 in the high 5s, low 6s, those are receivers from here on out.
In the top tier, we've already said there are 6 guys. You got Tyreek at the top, CD at 2. Your number 3 was, I'm going to say, a little surprising to me. It's just a name I wasn't expecting to hear next.
A.J. Brown. Okay. Why did you not expect to hear him next?
I don't know. I think it's because he's. And I hate saying this about him, but in the top tier, he seems like an afterthought to me.
Okay,
I'll get to Jamar Chase.
and my question would be why. He's an afterthought. I mean, I've seen him as low as out of the top 10, which to me is straight up stupid.
Mm-hmm.
Do you realize how good he was the beginning of last year?
Before everything went south.
Before the entire Eagle organization went south. If you go through week 9 of last year, how many receivers in the NFL scored more points than A.J. Brown?
None of them.
It was one. Tyreek Hill.
Okay.
That's it. Now, if you go from week 10 to the end of the year, where did A.J. Brown finish? That's from the bye week to the end of the year.
I'm going to say like 22.
You're too high.
Really?
He was 36.
Wow.
He burned people in the fantasy playoffs, and that's why nobody's talking about him. But you should be. But you should be, because we've already seen this. A.J. Brown finished 6th overall in scoring in 2022. That was with a less than awesome stretch when Jalen Hurts got hurt. And he missed a couple games right there in the middle. They played one with the Cowboys, and Gardner Minshew was the quarterback. And he and Gardner just had no connection whatsoever. Mm-hmm. Had it not been for that, he would have finished probably in the top 4. And that would have been his entire time really in Philadelphia. He's been an elite, no doubt guy. The biggest knock on A.J. Brown, at least early on, was he got dinged up a lot. Didn't necessarily mean many missed games. He just wasn't himself. That's not really a problem anymore. And I think Philadelphia is coming back with a vengeance. Look, I don't love Nick Sirianni. You know that. Vic Fangio fixes that defense. Period. He loves vet guys. They have vet guys. They're going to send hellhounds at people. You're not going to keep – it's not going to be the same shootout-y type offense. Now, here's where the other layer of that comes in. He doesn't have a whole lot of competition. Saquon, yeah, that probably takes a little bit out of the backfield. I don't think it takes drastically more than Miles Sanders did 2 years ago. I don't think it takes drastically more than DeAndre Swift did last year. And then it's just him and Devontae Smith. Mm-hmm. I still don't have any belief in any other receiver in Philadelphia. Oh, but they got Devontae Parker. Oh, woo. They got Paris Campbell. Woo.
Aeneas Smith. Although Johnny Wilson's there now.
Where did Devontae Parker go? I swear I thought he went to...
No, I think he went to...
Where did he go? He went somewhere. No, he's in Philadelphia. I was right. He's just not listed on their depth chart, which I don't really understand. Did they cut him?
Yeah, that is weird.
Did Devontae Parker go into the pit of misery?
He announced his retirement in May.
Really?
According to NFL.com. Devontae Parker announced his retirement 2 months after signing with the Eagles.
Well, we
probably talked about it.
I didn't know that. I mean, I didn't care, but oh man, we should have done a tease and piece for Devontae Parker. No person on this planet that hasn't seen me naked has disappointed me more than Devontae Parker. Just let me down every single year.
Just every single.
And the more I believed, he was like the Sasquatch of the NFL. The more I believed in it, the less sense it made.
Right. Devontae Parker, yeah, they definitely won't be throwing him the ball.
Yeah, he will not be catching targets. So it's Paris Campbell and John Ross. I will say this, and I'm only saying this because we're talking about Philadelphia. Johnny Wilson is going to be a problem. The way I think Philadelphia's offense sets up is in 3 receiver sets. They're going to have Devontae Smith and Wilson on the outside, and A.J. Brown's going to be running out of the slot, which I am a huge fan of.
Mm-hmm. That could definitely be nasty.
A.J. Brown's a guy that I just feel, just looking at ADPs and things like that, I think I'm going to have him on a slew of teams.
Before everything fell apart last year for Philadelphia, and in those first 9 weeks that Jeremy was talking about, he was pretty good. From week 3 through week 8, he did not have a game where, well, actually, we'll just go through week 9. Week 3 to week 9, he did not have a game where he wasn't over 100 yards or a touchdown. In all but one of those weeks, which was week 9, he had both. Over 100 yards and at least a touchdown. Hopefully, Philadelphia gets back on the track this year. And they can look much more like the team that was keeping A.J. Brown happy rather than the team that had A.J. Brown ready to rip his coach's head off on the sidelines. Because it's never a good look. And I guess that probably has a lot to do with the afterthought of A.J. Brown this year as well, is how happy is he in Philadelphia? Is there a problem between him and Jalen, compounded by the problems that he has with Nick Sirianni? And maybe the new offensive coordinator comes in and fixes everything. We just don't know. A.J. Brown coming in at number 3 on the wide receiver rankings for this upcoming season. We'll continue the wide receiver fantasy football marathon up next here in the Sportsocracy on ESPN Asheville.
This is your Exergen Temporal Scanner weather forecast on ESPN Asheville.
I said it this morning, I'll say it again, more beautiful weather is expected, and I don't see anything changing here except temperatures over the next few days, maybe through the weekend, at least the early part of next week, and those temperatures actually could approach 90 degrees again. Close to 80 today, sunshine, may fall short by a degree or 2. Tonight, some clouds, still cool in the upper 50s. Sunny Thursday, 80. Friday, sunshine, 82. From the Weather Channel meteorologist Ray Stajic.
This report is sponsored by Spruce Pine Chevrolet GMC.
Head over to Spruce Pine Chevrolet GMC at 36 Chevrolet Boulevard or visit us online at sprucepinechevrolet.com. That's SPRUCEPINE.
Oh, sorry, you're clear. We're trying to figure this crap out in here.
Sierras, Terrains, and Equinoxes.
There's a short in something. That's all I can. That or you got your mic angled away from your face. That mic is a little
being
finicky.
very cooperative.
I've only on Hulu. A weekend full of superstar performances from every genre. Buy tickets now at AXS.com.
After 30 years of doing knee and hip replacements, Dr. Mitchell Scheinkup thought there had to be a better way, and that led him to regenerative medicine.
I was one of the first orthopedic surgeons to do it.
Now, after 20 years of successful orthobiologic treatments, lots of clinical data, research, and teaching, Dr. Scheinkup is National Medical Director at QC Kinetics.
They've done an amazing job of becoming the most significant orthobiologic and regenerative medicine practice in the United States. QC is so far ahead of the game in its science, its protocols, its people, its facilities.
So if you have chronic pain from arthritis and you want to avoid drugs and surgery, call the experts in this revolutionary field, QC Kinetics.
To give patients real lasting relief from pain, that's what I live for. That's my mission.
Get your free consultation now. Call QC Kinetics.
Call QC Kinetics, 828-333-9517. That's 828-333-9517. 828-333-9517.
There's a lot of talk about heroes these days.
Hey, buddy, you want to go fishing?
The folks in the funny outfits with superpowers and spandex.
All right, buddy, let me help you.
But at Ingalls, we know that a lot of our heroes
Now you look like a crow.
are a little closer to home. They're the ones who give us what we need for those everyday adventures. That's why we look up to the ones who look out for us.
Don't forget your fish food. Catch a big one.
Ingalls,
See you later, Dad.
all
Bye.
the ingredients for family.
If you're looking to buy, sell, or invest in real estate in the mountains, you need to call the agents at Clarissa Sells WNC, brokered by eXp Realty. Check us out online at clarissasellswnc.com. Download our free app on Google Play or the App Store. Type in Asheville Home Search. You'll be able to connect with our team and see all the available homes for sale in our area. For more information, contact us today at 828-774-6343 or clarissasellswnc@gmail.com.
The Sportsocracy.
That is some good clean family fun there. Boy, you must be outside your mind.
The Sportsocracy.
Just a bit outside. He tried the corner and missed.
We are back in the Sportsocracy on ESPN Asheville, and it is time to get just a bit outside. And Jeremy, there's a new opportunity coming for a great football coach. Pete Carroll is going back to college. He's not going back to coach, though. He's going back to teach. This could be quite interesting. I wonder what class he's going to teach. There's no details right now. He says he's just in talks with USC to come in and teach some classes.
Gum chewing 101.
I can't. Yeah. I mean, could you imagine just being some, random freshman being lectured by Pete Carroll on, I don't know, leadership? That'd be the coolest class I think I would ever have.
I mean, I don't disagree. He's fine. Just more feels like, hey, you found a way to get paid for not a lot.
Are you saying not a lot goes into teaching a college course?
Oh no, I didn't say that at all. I said I don't think there would be a lot that goes into Pete Carroll teaching a college class.
I got you. I mean, you spend all of those years, studying up on strategies and psychologies of your opponents and stuff like that. I could see where this could be cool. I didn't know until last week, Western Carolina, they have this same kind of thing. They actually have a coaching course that you can take at Western Carolina University, and former head coach of the Western Carolina Catamounts, Kent Briggs, state champion high school football coach, he teaches the course.
Really?
Very cool.
I did not know that.
Yeah. And the course is the course is just about coaching. How to be a good coach, how to be a good leader, how to identify, best practices and things like that, how to be a manager of people. So it's really a course that I think, regardless of your major, you should probably take it at some point. Now, if you're going to college, you hopefully have your sights set on some kind of a leadership role. I think that should be like a mandatory course. Come take Pete Carroll's tips to winning, or whatever they're going to call it. He says he's still going to be hanging around the school. He's going to be doing some stuff not only in the classroom, teaching the classes, but also he will be quote-unquote helping out some other clubs, whatever that means, which basically I think means hanging around the football program, making sure that Lincoln Riley doesn't screw this up too much.
Yeah, that's. I'm glad you read that the same way, because I felt like a lot of football players would be taking Pete Carroll's course, and he would be in Lincoln's office quite a bit.
I think they're going to make Lincoln take his course.
They should. Hey, here's how to focus on somebody learning to block anybody. My story it's not really a sports story, but I had three, and this is the only one that it is competition, so I could at least make it fit here. Did you know that they have a Pokemon World Championship?
No, but I'm not surprised.
Yeah, they do, and it's in Hawaii. It's also streamed live on YouTube. Okay, I have to say this just in posterity's sake. It is sad that a lot of I'm going to say young men, maybe some young men who haven't seen a lot of naked women are probably playing Pokemon in Hawaii. But the people watching it, I'm going to need you to explain that to me real slow.
No, they've seen a lot of naked women. They just haven't seen them live.
Yeah, I was about to say they haven't seen them in person. They've seen a lot of them from the confines of their desk chair in their computer room.
Yeah, they saw them a whole bunch of times.
Well,
There's championships for everything, dude. I once called a Rocket League tournament in college.
I could get down with Rocket League quicker than I could get down with. I traveled to Hawaii to play Pokemon.
Wait, Rocket League is the one with the cars playing soccer.
Rocket car soccer. Yeah, we did a collegiate circuit, and I called the Elon one. It was great. During COVID, I did it from my dorm room. It was awesome.
I bet on Russian table tennis during COVID, so I don't really have much room to talk.
It's true. You do anything you have to when they take everything away from you.
Well, the reason I tell this story is that there was a quarterfinal match between Ian Robb, who's an American. He looks like a young gent, maybe about Colby's age, right in that early 20s. And in the quarterfinal, he took on the pride of Chile, Fernando Cifuentes. Well, Mr. Robb dispatched of Mr. Cifuentes and moved on to the semifinals, so we thought. But when the bracket came out, Mr. Cifuentes' name was in the semifinals, and nobody really understood why. They went back and watched the video, and they figured it out pretty quick. Ian Robb was disqualified for an unsportsmanlike rude gesture. Would you like to know what he did?
Yes.
As soon as the match was over, they had the camera fixated on him, of which watching this makes me laugh because it is the greatest nerd fest I think I've ever seen. And I don't know how to properly paint a word picture for the gesture that I would wager Mr. Robb has made every time he's ever seen a naked woman in his life, because they weren't in the room. That's what he did at his opponent and gave it the open hand finisher. And they disqualified him for that.
Huh.
He went full over the pants, HJ, motion, and was disqualified for it. Okay. I don't know the game. But if you start disqualifying people in Pokemon tournaments for doing that gesture, they're all disqualified. Maybe they didn't do it in public like he did, but does nobody see the irony that probably their favorite pastime is what got him disqualified? Was that lost on anybody but me?
No. This is quite.
When they said catch 'em all, that's not quite what they meant.
Oh, that's points.
That's pretty good. I'm not gonna lie.
Good for you, Colby. And that's Colby's first one, ladies and gentlemen.
I try to take my shots when I can.
So did he.
Oh, yes. Oh, we need to move on. Back to the fantasy football here in the Sportsocracy on ESPN Asheville. It is fantasy football marathon time.
Now,
wide receiver ranking.
I need to clarify this too, because I guarantee you somebody is yelling at their car radio right now. I understand that people that spend as much time as we do on fantasy football should probably not be casting aspersions at people that play Pokemon. I get it. I get it.
We're all nerds, just in our own different.
We have wives. That's the day you're allowed to cast aspersions.
Top 6 fantasy wide receivers: Tyreek Hill, CeeDee Lamb, A.J. Brown are the top 3. Where do you go at number 4, Jeremy?
Justin Jefferson. And I'll be honest with you, I think those 4 are all really, really, really close.
They are.
If you tell me I can get Justin Jefferson at the back end of the first round, I'm fine. If you go nanners on running backs and, I'm picking between Justin Jefferson or Jahmyr Gibbs, yeah, I'll go Justin Jefferson. But that's not me casting aspersions at Jahmyr Gibbs. That's just saying, Justin Jefferson he's that dude.
Mm-hmm. And it doesn't really matter that Sam Darnold is his quarterback. Because at some point, you have to come to the realization that even though you don't really like that guy, could he be under center for an NFL team and support a 1,300-yard receiver? Of course he can.
No doubt.
Of course he can.
Do you know where
and
Justin
in that
Jefferson
1,300 yards, Justin Jefferson's going to come up with 5 to 7 touchdowns at minimum.
Do you know where Justin Jefferson has finished among fantasy receivers in the 3 years that he's actually completed?
Tell me.
6, 4, and 1.
It's a pretty good track record.
Do you know where he was last year when he got hurt?
1.
6.
Oh, okay.
Then he came back and had, the grossness that was the quarterback situation in Minnesota. Oh, and by the way, in those 5 games, he had 2 grumpers, a 4.5 and an 11. He also had a 15.5, a 26, and a 36. And that was with me and Tank playing quarterback. Yeah, I straight up don't care that Sam Darnold's the quarterback of the Minnesota Vikings.
You should not be fading Justin Jefferson, as they say, this year. I mean, if the measure is greatest season ever, then sure, okay. Doubt that he'll get that far. But when it comes to competing with the other top wide receivers in the league, he's definitely the guy on his team and will get all of the attention that he wants.
What is the line at running back that running back has to be on the board for you to not take Justin Jefferson? How many running backs would you take over him? That's the way that people that speak English would have asked that question.
I would say 4, maybe 5.
That many.
Saquon?
Saquon's going in the second round.
Is he really?
Yeah. I mean, if that's your answer, you're not getting Justin Jefferson. I'll go ahead and tell you my answer is 2.
No, Justin Jefferson will be off the board mid-first round.
His ADP right now fluctuates between 8 and 11.
Really?
Yeah.
I haven't been in a single one where it didn't go Christian McCaffrey and then 5 of the next 6 picks are all wide receivers.
You also don't. You also tend to all of your. So, are you talking about mock drafts or in actual?
Yes,
drafts?
I'm talking about mock drafts.
You do all of your mocks on Sleeper, right?
Pretty much.
Yeah, you do realize that gives you a. I love Sleeper personally. They also are very to the point with their rankings, and they don't fluctuate much. So if a guy is there, I think he's there 6, if I remember correctly, you get him auto drafted quite a bit.
Right.
If I can go, if I can start a draft with Justin Jefferson, Saquon Barkley somewhere around the turn, or even Justin Jefferson, Jonathan Taylor, Jahmyr Gibbs, any of those, I'm going to be making the same motion at the people in my league that Ian Robb got disqualified for.
Oh.
I'm also going to follow it up with some words that are straight up vulgar.
Also in the top tier of wide receivers for this upcoming year, you have who?
In terms of who's my 5?
Yes.
Amon-Ra St. Brown.
He is that dude.
I love him, and everything I'm getting ready to say is going to sound like I don't. Do you think he can be better than what he has been?
I mean, it'd be hard to be better than what you have been.
That's my fear with him.
But I mean, still, you've been around 1 year and had a hell of a season.
Oh, he's been around 3 years.
Well, I mean,
he was 21 overall in 2021.
Okay,
he was 7 overall in 2022. He was number 3 last year. I think he is very safe. Okay, this is another one of those times. I'm going to say this the way that people that speak English say it. He has probably the safest floor of any receiver in this league. because I know what he has at quarterback. I know how the offense works. He's still in the same system, and I think they're going to win a lot. I don't think he has that 400-point upside. CeeDee Lamb scored 400 points last year, 403 and a quarter. I don't ever see a path that Amon-Ra is going to get there. I also don't really see a path that he's going to dip below the 270 he had in 2022. So I think he's going to live in the 3 to 6 to 7 range. Short of injury, I don't see any way he doesn't finish that high.
Yep.
And there is a safety to that. I just also don't see a path that he ends up as the number one receiver in fantasy football.
Rob Johnson, the YouTube comment, says a lot of mouths to feed up there with that Lions offense, and he's not wrong. We'll continue the discussion of wide receivers, the top wide receivers to have in your fantasy drafts in 2024. Continue after this here in the Sportsocracy on ESPN Asheville.
If you're a medical professional,
we have
business
a super
owner,
chat
higher
coming back,
income, or self-employed, a new federal rule means now
you're good.
The last
right,
chance for people that don't get tax credit subsidies for lower premiums to lock in real health insurance at lower rates for up to 3 years. If you have marketplace, work, or healthcare ministry insurance, I'm talking to you. Hummingbird Insurance is offering free consults for quotes. There's no catch or strings. Get the free quote and decide. Hummingbird Insurance.
We're going abroad for the first time in years.
Hey, just so you know, that shiny Charizard really, really turns me on.
You start having conversations in another language in just 3 weeks.
¿Cómo te llamas?
¿Cómo te llamas? When you learn a language, you want to actually use it. Babbel is designed with that goal in mind.
In just 3 weeks, we're starting to have conversations in Spanish. Gracias, Babbel.
Babbel, language for life. Now try Babbel for free at Babbel.com. That's Babbel.com.
Asheville Smiles has been featured in national publications like Good Housekeeping and Woman's Day. And check out this 5-star Google review. My dental experience was wonderful. I cannot say enough about Dr. Merrill and her amazing team at Asheville Smiles Cosmetic and Family Dentistry. Dr. Merrill took time to explain everything. She made me feel relaxed and confident that I was in good hands. I apologize for those tears at your office. Those were tears of joy. Thank you all so much, and thank you, Dr. Merrill, for the hope to get my smile back. Check out Asheville Smiles online at AshevilleSmiles.com.
High school football is back, and it's week 1 of the Buncombe County Game of the Week. West Forsyth comes up the mountain to take on AC Reynolds. Sports Tank Friday gets us started at 6:30. The Bojangles Countdown to Kickoff show is at 7. On ESPN 1400 and TuscolaRadio.com, it's the Mountaineers opening up on the road at Asheville High. Our new team, Chris Kelly, Terry Shin, and Colby Cook will bring you all the action with the Mountaineer Countdown to Kickoff show at 7. The best coverage of high school football is on News Radio 570, WWNC, and ESPN Asheville.
If you're looking to buy, sell, or invest in real estate in the mountains, you need to call the agents at Clarissa Sells WNC, brokered by eXp Realty. Check us out online at ClarissaSellsWNC.com. And did I mention that Clarissa Sells WNC loves teachers? We love teachers so much, we're giving back 25% of our commission at closing. For more information, contact us today at 828-774-6343 or ClarissaSellsWNC@gmail.com.
Showtime Sports and Mountain Graphics have teamed up under new ownership by an Asheville native to better serve our community with the finest custom apparel and unique branded items at the best price. Showtime Sports and Mountain Graphics can customize whatever you, your team, business, or local group may need through high-quality screen printing, embroidery, and laser engraving right here in Asheville. Free personal delivery within Buncombe County and a reduced delivery fee anywhere in Western North Carolina. Visit ShowtimeSportsAVL.com and MountainGraphicsAVL.com. Your one-stop custom apparel shops.
At Ingles, whether we're celebrating Friday night rivals, televising college basketball games, bringing the Fan Fest to semi-pro soccer, or taking you out to the ball game at your minor league park, it's all in the bag. Ingles, low prices, love the savings.
Do better, be better every day. That's the Parks Promise. Our mission, to improve lives with every interaction. This is JW, General Manager at Parks Ford Hendersonville. Experience the Parks Promise today at parksfordhendersonville.com. That's parksfordhendersonville.com.
This is your Exergen Temporal Scanner weather forecast on ESPN Asheville.
I said it this morning, I'll say it again, more beautiful weather is expected, and I don't see anything changing here except temperatures over the next few days, maybe through the weekend, at least the early part of next week, and those temperatures actually could approach 90 degrees again. Close to 80 today, sunshine, may fall short by a degree or two. Tonight, some clouds, still cool in the upper 50s. Sunny Thursday, 80. Friday, sunshine, 82. From the Weather Channel meteorologist Ray Stajic.
This report is sponsored by Spruce Pine Chevrolet GMC.
Head over to Spruce Pine Chevrolet GMC at 36 Chevrolet Boulevard or visit us online at sprucepinechevrolet.com. That's SPRUCEPINE Chevrolet.com for unforgettably great leases on Silverados, Sierras, Terrains, and Equinoxes.
If you're listening to this Gerber Life Guaranteed life insurance ad, there's a good chance that you're alive. And if you're not, well, this may not be of interest to you. Now, I know what you're thinking. Life insurance, I'm going to live forever. Death is what happens to other people. Well, for the sake of argument, let's assume you're wrong and that someday you won't be listening to the radio anymore. I know it's not easy to talk about, so I'll do the talking. If you're 50 plus and alive, or 50 to 75 in New York, you can apply for Gerber Life Guaranteed life insurance with guaranteed acceptance regardless of your health. And since this life insurance is guaranteed, you don't have to get a medical exam. In fact, you don't even have to fill out a health questionnaire. For a free quote, call 888-532-5016. Then, when you stop, if you stop listening to the radio, your family can use the insurance money to help cover your final expenses or anything else. Your kids already inherited your ears, allergies, and questionable singing voice. Don't make them inherit your final expense tab too. For a free personalized quote, call 888-532-5016 today.
Lowe's knows their great paint savings means you get the colors you want at prices you'll love. Get 20% off select 1-gallon cans and 5-gallon pails of paint or stain. Valid through 8/21. Selection varies by location. See store or Lowes.com for details.
From the Ingalls Studios, this is ESPN Asheville, WPEK, W225CJ Fairview, WMXF Waynesville, and iHeart radio station.
Now your chance at $1,000 and a trip to our iHeartRadio Music Festival. Text the nationwide keyword WIN to 200-200. You'll get a confirmation text and info. Standard data and message rates apply in this nationwide contest. That's WIN to 200-200.
The Sportsocracy.
It fires me up, man. I love it. Say it one more time.
The Sportsocracy.
Shake it back!
Beer City's best sports talk.
It is gross.
Just earlier.
They are mature, actually. You just have to get to know them better.
Your lunchtime dose of dumbassery. Live from the Ingalls studio.
It is ESPN Asheville, 92.9 FM, 880 AM and 1400. The Sportsocracy is heard everywhere you go on the iHeartRadio app. You can take us with you everywhere, live or on demand. The podcasts are up. Everything should be updated for this week, and the Fantasy Football Marathon continues here in the Sportsocracy. I am live in the Ingalls studio. Jeremy live from Mullet Manor. You are going to come in with Colby tomorrow, right? You're not going to let him make him fly
Please,
solo,
I hope.
right?
Yes, I will. I
Please
will
come fill in your butt groove. Don't make me do it alone.
I will be in the studio the next 2 days.
Very good.
And we hope there will be a YouTube show the next 2 days, but I can confirm we will be on iHeart.
Indeed. You will be getting a visit tomorrow at some point in the program from News 13 sports director Chris Womack. He'll be dropping by to spend some time with you as well.
Oh, good. That means I don't have to talk to myself.
Yes.
I mean,
at
I
least
can do
for
that.
a little bit anyway.
I can do that. Don't get me wrong. I just get a little long-winded when I'm talking to myself.
Right. Coming up tomorrow, I will be hitting the road going down to Charlotte, where the Carolina Panthers are going to be hosting another high school football game. In fact, there's 2 high school football games at Bank of America Stadium. Tomorrow night, I will be doing the board work on Mix 96.1. That's the local station that will be broadcasting the games. Our crew will be down there. Brian Hall will be down there. He'll be driving, thankfully, taking us down there to cover that, and then we'll be back for high school football here in Buncombe County, and, of course, the Tuscola broadcast here on AM 1400 on Friday night. It all gets underway with the high school football season.
We could talk about baseball and underwater basket weaving tomorrow, but I know you hate that. So.
I would rather talk about Ian Robb's bedroom habits.
It is the Sportsocracy. It is your one-stop shop for all things NFL and fantasy football. This week, talking fantasy wide receivers on the program today. We've got a super chat, another one from our good friend Soaring Eagle.
Yeah! Yeah!
Sorry, I owed you one. There you go, buddy.
Very good.
Here's another one for the road. Let them rip, boys.
Yeah!
Oh, geez. He's updating us on this guy's terrible fantasy team.
Now he's taking David Montgomery. And then started Zaire Franklin, Roquan Smith, Derwin James. So he does at least understand that you have to take younger guys with his defensive spots. He, however, will have the youngest valuable defense, which he started really early, I feel like, with the nursing home of an offense that he's going to have.
Yeah, recap the dynasty picks there for him. He took Tyreek Hill, the 30-year-old wide receiver at number 6, who's already said he's not going to play but, 2 more years. And then he's retiring to become a porn star.
He's got Lamar Jackson as his quarterback, Joe Mixon, Brandon Ayuk, Stephon Diggs, Travis Kelce, and he added good old David Montgomery to that. So he's got the geriatric circuit, the senior circuit, if you will, at running back. So, Soaring Eagle, I will tell you, you're playing against only 10 other people if that's a 12-man league.
Yes. You definitely should not finish last in that league.
We have another question from a first-time fantasy footballer.
Okay.
June Lee in our YouTube comments said, I've got Amon-Ra St. Brown, AJ Brown, Mike Evans, and Rashee Rice as his receivers. Kenny Walker III, James Conner as his running backs. Should I trade my receivers for better running backs because my running backs are bad? I don't think your running backs are bad.
They're not bad. They're just not sexy.
And you've got 2 of my top 6 at wide receiver. You got another of my top 10. I think you're fine. I would be curious who has Zach Charbonnet and who has Trey Benson. I might be willing to overpay for those 2, specifically if somebody had them both. Like if somebody had Charbonnet and had Trey Benson, I might be willing to give up Rashee Rice for those 2.
Yep.
Just to lock that down. But you have 2 teams that I know definitively are going to run, and you've got the running back. James Conner is, how do I say this delicately? Nope, can't do it that way.
Okay.
There's nothing that you will never look at him and go, oh, I'm so happy I have James Conner, but he will produce. Mm-hmm. I have changed my tune on him so aggressively in the last couple years because he's consistent. I know he's never going to give me that grumper game. Mm-hmm. So, I think you're fine. June, to me, that's solid. I would stick with it. But I would definitely try to figure out a way to get Charbonnet and Trey Benson.
Yeah. You got any other fantasy questions? Any of you have fantasy questions, you can hit us up in the YouTube chat. Just go to thesportsocracy.com, click the live video link, subscribe to the channel.
We've got one more before we slide back into receivers.
We do. That was a professional segue into the next question.
So, look at you.
And yeah, just to add my 2 cents to the June to June's question, it'd be a hard no for me. You don't have to do anything.
No, you're good.
Mainly because the only I don't feel like you have a whole lot of trade value with Mike Evans in a dynasty at this point. He's not getting you a stud running back by himself.
That may not be a dynasty, by the way. He never said that it was.
That is true. But I wouldn't dare touch St. Brown or A.J. Brown as far as moving them off for other talent.
I wouldn't trade either one of those guys in a dynasty for anything that you would actually give me.
Mm-hmm.
Like if you're offering me Malik Neighbors or Marvin Harrison Jr., now we can talk, but that would be it.
Yeah. Evan Gittleman is the next question here. He says he has the 3rd pick in his draft. He's thinking either Tyreek Hill or Breece Hall, depending on which one he gets. How would we draft the 2-3 turn? Says he typically looks at guys like Achane, Cooks, DK, or Cup. What are your thoughts? And that was James Cook.
The best way I would go Tyreek Hill, and then probably I wouldn't necessarily want to go Devon Achane. For me, it would actually work out better if you wound up getting CeeDee Lamb or Justin Jefferson. Then you could go Devon Achane. If you go Breece, I have no problem going Breece. And let me look at my rankings. I would have no problem going Breece, Mike Evans, Breece, Cooper Kupp, Breece. Yeah, those would be my preferences, unless like Devontae Adams fell or Marvin Harrison Jr. fell. But I mean, I think you're good that way. The only thing I will tell you with Breece Hall is if you don't want him to make you want to pull your hair out, draft Braylon Allen late. So I am a Jets fan, and I'm telling you, that kid is going to get more carries at the goal line than you want him to. When you have a truck, you don't tend to drive to work in the snow in a Honda Civic. Honda Civic looks good. It's fun, and it's really good all the rest of the year. But you got that big, bad truck. It is really intriguing to just go, hey, give it to this dude that looks like the Terminator.
Again, fire in your fantasy questions. We'll be taking them all throughout the fantasy football marathon here for the rest of the week in the Sportsocracy. Kelvin Joyner says he got Hunter Renfrow off of waivers. What's up with him?
He's going to sign a deal. The question is with who. I have in the last week, the thought that it could be the Minnesota Vikings has churned up a little more. I originally thought it was going to be the New Orleans Saints. He's going to sign somewhere. The question is where. And there's a great chance that you go into week one, he's still not on a roster because they don't want to guarantee his salary. And then on Tuesday of week 2, he signs with the Saints.
Okay.
Which I would love, by the way.
To be the third behind Rashid Shaheed.
He would be the slot guy in theory. And the thought is that he has that connection with Derek Carr. It's a different offense. But with what he does, I don't necessarily think that's a problem. He just didn't fit what the Raiders did. And then the Raiders got to a point where they're looking around going, we're going to play a lot of 12 personnel, and you just don't fit that. You know, we got Jacoby Myers, we got Devontae Adams, and so he was gone. Now you got to find somebody that actually really values that slot guy. The Saints make the most sense. The Vikings do make some sense too. And I will tell you, I would like him a lot with Sam Darnold as well.
Yeah, man, that 2021 season was just so good, and really came out of nowhere for a lot of us. I mean, I remember thinking, like, Hunter Renfrow, he was awesome in college. He was always that guy that was open. You know, there was nothing real flashy about him. He was just, bring your lunch pail to work kind of a guy. I never thought that was going to play in the NFL. And we had that big 9-touchdown year in 2021. I thought that's going to be so sustainable. And then the Raiders did what the Raiders do. They prove to you anything that you think is sustainable, there's a small shelf life on that, my friend.
And then Josh McDaniels showed up and you thought, oh, let the good times roll. And it was worse than you could have ever imagined.
Right. There is one more elite tier wide receiver in your rankings, Flostradamus, that we have not talked about just yet on this program. Your number 6 wide receiver for 2024.
Jamar Chase.
This feels low for Jamar Chase.
Okay, why?
It just does. With a healthy Joe Burrow, why is he not destined to be back in the top 3?
Well, because you just said a healthy Joe Burrow like that was a given, and it's not. It's not a given. It's not a given. And you've got an elite receiver on the other side, which nobody else can say that. I mean, Tyreek Hill can, but they throw a gajillion times a game and play faster than practically anybody in the NFL. Mm-hmm. My problem with Jamar Chase is more the contract. And I feel like that's getting, I'll say, contentious. There's also the problem of Jamar Chase. He will have weeks where he wins you weeks. If you look at his game logs last year, it's an absolute roller coaster. Even before Joe Burrow got hurt, his weekly finishes were 55, 73, 11, 34, 2, 29, 10, 46, 6, 31, 35, 6, 54, 36, 54, 75. There's a lot of up and down to him that I don't see with other high-end receivers. I'm going to say this, and it's going to sound a little confusing. I would be all in on trying to get Jamar Chase at some point this year if I was playing in Dynasty. Because I know T. Higgins isn't going to be back next year. Mm-hmm. And then I think it's going to be him and the collection of young guys they've got, and I think some of the bootsiness goes away. And then he becomes – then next year I'll be talking about him as the 3 or the 4.
Okay. When he's the only guy, or when he is the guy, and then you have a more marked drop-off to the next guys, that's when you think his production will increase?
Yes. I mean, and look, those great games are great.
Right. Do you have much hope for Jermaine Burton in this this first year?
I mean, I think he's a good third receiver. And I will say, Jermaine Burton, he changes one thing for me with Jamar Chase. If you told me definitively he was the starter, I think there's a better chance that Jermaine Burton plays on the outside instead of the slot than Andrea Ishivas. And I love Jamar Chase out of the slot. Mm-hmm. I don't have a whole lot of depth of – if it was Brian Callahan, that's how I would say that was going to go. I don't know exactly how it's going to go with Dan Pitcher. He was the quarterback's coach, so I mean, I think there's a good chance that it stays the same, but I don't know. Burton and Higgins on the outside with Chase in the slot, I would probably like Chase. He would go up a spot. I'd probably like him better than Amon-Ra.
All right, that is the basement of Tier 1. Where does Tier 2 start?
Puka Nacua.
Up next.
Nope.
Bring
it would help if I looked at a clock, because the clock's not right in front of my face like it usually is.
Here in the Sportsocracy on ESPN Asheville.
As fall approaches, you have a lot to prepare for.
My bad.
Back to school, sporting events, family gatherings, and staying on top of your health. The virus that
you're good
continues to evolve. So this fall, no matter what you're prepping for, you can prioritize your family's health and make a game plan for COVID-19 vaccination. Ask your doctor or pharmacist to learn more. Sponsored by Pfizer.
As a roofer, I'm always on the go. So I need to be able to get things done from anywhere. That's why I partnered with Beacon. With their unique Beacon Pro Plus app, I've got the brands I depend on, like GAF, right at my fingertips 24/7. I rely on Beacon because I never stop building, and neither do they. Now through September 15th, purchase GAF through Beacon Pro Plus and earn up to $1,500. Go to BECN.com or download the Beacon Pro Plus app today. Beacon, always building.
Why choose a Sleep Number smart bed?
Can I make my side softer?
Can I make my side firmer whenever I want? Can we sleep cooler? Sleep Number does that. Cools up to 8 times faster and lets you choose your ideal comfort on either side. 94% of Sleep Number smart sleepers report better sleep. J.D. Power ranks Sleep Number #1 in customer satisfaction with mattresses purchased in-store. And now, during our biggest sale of the year, save 50% on the Sleep Number Limited Edition Smart Bed. Limited time. For J.D. Power 2023 award information, visit jdpower.com/awards. To find a store near you, visit sleepnumber.com.
Get ready to win your way to our 2024 iHeartRadio Music Festival. Presented by Capital One. And $1,000.
T-Mobile Arena here in Las Vegas.
September 20th and 21st.
Streaming live only on Hulu.
Buy tickets now at AXS.com.
One of the most anticipated live music events of the year.
You have to see this to believe it.
Brought to you by Hyundai's lineup of electric vehicles. Electrifying your summer and your journey to the iHeartRadio Music Festival.
If you're looking to buy, sell, or invest in real estate in the mountains, you need to call the agents at Clarissa Sells WNC, brokered by eXp Realty. Check us out online at clarissasellswnc.com. Download our free app on Google Play or the App Store. Type in Asheville Home Search. You'll be able to connect with our team and see all the available homes for sale in our area. For more information, contact us today at 828-774-6343 or clarissasellswnc@gmail.com.
Showtime Sports and Mountain Graphics have teamed up under new ownership by an Asheville native to better serve our community with the finest custom apparel and unique branded items at the best price. Showtime Sports and Mountain Graphics can customize whatever you, your team, business, or local group may need through high-quality screen printing, embroidery, and laser engraving right here in Asheville. Free personal delivery within Buncombe County and a reduced delivery fee anywhere in Western North Carolina. Visit ShowtimeSportsAVL.com and MountainGraphicsAVL.com. Your one-stop custom apparel shops.
At Ingles, whether we're celebrating Friday night rivals, televising college basketball games, bringing the Fan Fest to semi-pro soccer, or taking you out to the ball game at your minor league park, it's all in the bag. Ingles, low prices, love the savings.
Do better, be better every day. That's the Parks Promise. Our mission, to improve lives with every interaction. This is JW, General Manager at Parks Ford Hendersonville. Experience the Parks Promise today at parksfordhendersonville.com. That's parksfordhendersonville.com.
The Sportsocracy.
You are a regular nuclear meltdown. You better cool off.
We are back in the Sportsocracy on ESPN Asheville. Fantasy football talk continues. Talking best wide receivers. Tier 1 is a tight-knit group of 6 guys. Tyreek Hill, CeeDee Lamb, A.J. Brown, Justin Jefferson, Amon-Ra St. Brown, Jamar Chase. How far is the drop-off to Tier 2? Flostradamus, Jeremy Green.
In the break, I did learn how to use a clock. The drop to Puka Nacua at 7, it's there. The risk with him is just significantly more than I think there is with any of the other 6. He could outproduce them all, and it wouldn't surprise me really at all. Or what could happen is exactly what I think is going to happen, and you get closer to 2021 Cooper Kupp than you have over the last 2 years. Cooper basically has been a glorified receiver 3 in that Rams offense for 2 years because he's missed so much time. Mm-hmm. I now look at that roster, and it's not so much Demarcus Robinson as it is Jordan Whittington. I think they're going to be able to snap count Cooper Kupp in a better way, and I think that could pull back exactly that crazy high upside that he had last year.
Mm-hmm. Cooper Kupp has been adamant that he is fully healthy, that he can reclaim his former spot atop the league. I just have serious doubts about a 30-year-old receiver being able to do that. That's not named Tyreek Hill. I feel like there is a bit of a difference between those two guys. Especially seeing as how Kupp has had his health issues over the last 2 years. I love the confidence of being able to say, I can win the Triple Crown again. I'm going to say that you don't. Here's the thing. More importantly, you don't have to. Now that he has another no-doubter in that offense with him in Puka Nacua.
GG Gambling in our YouTube chat had a really good point. Cup and Puka looks like when Holt showed up for Isaac Bruce, because Isaac Bruce was an older guy. That's kind of the point that I'm trying to make. I'm not telling you, and there's no player, I think, in fantasy football that has a more wide range of outcomes than Cooper Kupp. For me, I think he more holds back Puka Nacua in terms of fantasy football output, to the point of I don't necessarily think Puka is going to finish in, where was he at last year? 3rd overall? It's not up on my screen.
Sounds about right.
He was 4. I don't necessarily think Puka's going to finish 4, but I think there's a great chance he finishes in the top 10.
Okay. Where do you go after that?
I know this is one you're going to like that a lot of people are going to think I'm too high on. It's Mike Evans.
Oh, I do love that. It sounds high. But after what we saw last year and the relationship that Baker Mayfield and Mike Evans have with each other, I mean, I think you'd be foolish to have him much lower. I just feel like that is a relationship that is going to carry on. There has been some question as to whether or not there will be a resurgence this year from Chris Godwin, with Liam Cohen coming in to take over the offense. This is Liam Cohen's offenses have been better for slot receivers, like Cooper Kupp. He was there the Triple Crown year in L.A., I believe. And so the thought is maybe that Chris Godwin will have a resurgent year and Mike Evans will feel the pinch because of that from the amazing year that he had last year.
My argument to that would be, what is it that makes Mike Evans more volatile? All right, so from 2018 till now, how many times has Mike Evans not been a top 15 wide receiver in the NFL? Fantasy football, total points scored.
I would say none, if maybe one.
It's 0. He was 17 in 2017. From 18 to now, he's been top 15 or better. The only thing that changes is how many touchdowns he scores. Who is he competing with for red zone targets? Cade Otton?
Yep.
That's it.
That's the only one.
That's the only one. Everybody else is a smallish slot receiver. And yes, I've heard the thing about Liam Cohen. I also would point you to go look at those rosters and tell me, okay, so who is the large 6'3", 6'4" target that he's had that he didn't throw it to? Oh, there weren't any. And then you point to the year at Kentucky, the tallest receiver on the team was 6'1". So, yes, it has been better for slot receivers. That's what he's tended to have. I also think he looks at Mike Evans and goes, that's my red zone guy. I don't necessarily think he's going to put up 13 touchdowns like he did last year. But even at 8 or 9, he still finishes 9th, 10th, 11th overall.
Yep.
His safety is the safety of him is what's attractive to me.
As it should be. Because nobody's done it better. Nobody started a career the way that Mike Evans has. And I think if he gets it this year, he'll tie the all-time record for most 1,000-yard seasons in a row with Jerry Rice.
Yep.
I think that record's at 11. So he's gonna be useful. He is going to be a stud again, and he is going to be a value for somebody, because you're not having to take him at wide receiver 8.
Nope.
To get him, you're having to take him at like wide receiver 15 or 16.
The funny thing is that in rankings, every year we have him ranked higher than he gets drafted. He always has a negative regression from ranking to ADP. In all the years I've been doing this, I've never seen a positive in that column. And that's probably why he's been on my teams for many, many years. And you've just made it worse because you bang the drum so often that I have to keep a really, really, really close eye on Mike Evans. Mm-hmm. And I think I've started drafting him more.
Well, you're welcome for that. Because last year worked out pretty well when I told you, despite the fact that Baker Mayfield sucks at football, Mike Evans is still going to have a hell of a season, and he's one of the most overlooked guys. And it continues this year.
We've got one more.
I guess we don't believe that Baker can do it again.
We've got one more in the list that we need to talk about before we go into the break, because the next two after that need to be talked about together.
All right. At number 9.
Garrett Wilson. Say it. I know you want to.
What?
That feels low.
It feels low. It does feel a little low. Garrett Wilson, to me, he's right outside. He's right on the heels of the top 6 with Puka Nacua. Mm-hmm. I would have Mike Evans behind him.
Okay, so and maybe I'm a little harder on my Jet because I'm a Jet fan. He has gone 1,000 yards both years in the league with me playing quarterback outside of the 3 snaps that before Aaron Rodgers got hurt last year. He has 7 touchdowns in his career. Total. Mm-hmm. I think the Jet offense will be better. I also think if you just look at the teams that are that have receivers in front of Garrett Wilson, which one do you really look at and go, that's going to be a ground and pound, play good defense, run the ball team? Miami? Good God, no. Dallas? No. Minnesota? No. Detroit? Yeah, but they don't have any other receivers. It's Amon-Ra and nothing else. Bengals, Rams, Philadelphia Eagles, Tampa Bay? No. The Jets are a ground and pound defensive team. I don't know that they can sustain a top 5 running back, what I think will be a top 10 receiver, and anything else. So then you get into what can change that? Mike Williams can change that. If he plays 17 games, straight up, I like Garrett Wilson less. Straight up, I like him less because he's a really good deep threat over the top, and he's bigger. Mm-hmm. Malachi Corley, he's going to play a good number of snaps out of the slot. I don't know exactly how all of this is going to work because Garrett plays out of the slot a good bit as well. I just don't think he's going to get the workload that everybody else does. I think he's one of the 5 most talented receivers in the NFL. I just don't think the set's up for him as well as everybody else thinks so.
They will be able to. Go ahead.
Tresner in our YouTube chat said, don't count out Jameson Williams. I love Detroit, and I'll be honest with you, I can't count on Jameson Williams for squat.
Yeah.
Now, I did count out Sam Laporta there, which I didn't mean to do because I love him. And when we talk about tight ends on Friday, yeah, you won't have to wait long to hear his name.
Jeremy's not a fan of J-Mo.
I never have been. I think he's he was always a one-trick pony of I can beat guys deep, and I don't necessarily think that is in the way that Ben calls that offense. I don't think anybody's doing anything wrong. I just don't think it springs him open as quickly as it should. Now, if anybody can figure it out, it's Ben Johnson. He just hadn't up until this point.
Right. Garrett Wilson coming in at number 9. I know this team is defense strong, run the football. We got 2 running backs that we really, really like. But you have Aaron Rodgers as your quarterback. And I still feel, I mean, I just can't imagine that he will take a quote-unquote back seat to the running game to be the ground and pound. I don't feel like that's what he's here for.
It's not what he's here for. He's here to win.
That's what I was getting ready to say. What he's really here for is to win, and if they're running the football down people's throats and the defense is giving up 3 points a game, I'm sure he'll be fine with it.
That's the whole point.
If he doesn't get MVP stats.
That's the whole point, is that you got Braylon Allen behind Brees. You've got, I mean, and look, they invested 2 early day 3 picks into running backs. That is, and I'll just go ahead and tell you, they talk about it a lot. I'm real close to that team, and they talk about just bashing people's brains out with the run game and the defense a lot. There's a reason I've been saying this for 2 years, that Aaron Rodgers' days of putting up MVP numbers are over. Even if he plays 17 games, I don't think it's going to be 4,500 yards or anything like that. I look at it and go, that's 3,800 yards, 25 touchdowns, and the hope is that he threw 3 interceptions total.
Yep.
And that's just not a lot to go around when I'm looking at Breece Hall, I'm looking at Tyler Conklin, Mike Williams, Malachi Corley, Garrett Wilson. He gets the lion's share of that. But even then, is the high side better than Mike Evans? And what I got to was, no, it's not.
No. I think you've talked me out of it now. Good job for you. You made me like Mike Evans more than Garrett Wilson.
Yeah, that's the difference between me and you. You look at Tampa Bay Buccaneers and go, I must make you believe in them. I look at Jets and go, I've done this too many times. They've let me down so many times that I can't in clear conscience tell you to hop on this carousel with me.
Right. There's also that lingering question too. What happens if Devontae Adams does end up on this team?
Devontae's a guy we're going to talk about in real short order. And what you just said is part of it. And there's another layer to him that concerns me.
When we come back from the break, we'll continue with the wide receiver ranking discussion, as we've got a pair of names that Jeremy said need to be talked about together here. It's because they ended up tied for 10th in the top 10 for fantasy receivers coming up this season. You're in the Sportsocracy, and this is ESPN Asheville.
This is your Exergen. You good? Forecast on ESPN Asheville.
I said it this morning, I'll say it again, more beautiful weather is expected, and I don't see anything changing here except temperatures over the next few days, maybe through the weekend, at least the early part of next week, and those temperatures actually could approach 90 degrees again. Close to 80 today, sunshine, may fall short by a degree or 2. Tonight, some clouds, still cool in the upper 50s. Sunny Thursday, 80. Friday, sunshine, 82. From the Weather Channel meteorologist, Ray Stajic.
This report is sponsored by Marion Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram.
Head down the mountain to Marion Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram at 44 Worley Road or visit us online at marioncdjr.com. That's MARIONCDJR.com during the Make This the Summer sales event. Check out our unforgettably great lease offers on the all-new Jeep Wranglers and Dodge Hornets.
Sandstone Health and Rehabilitation is known for compassionate care for all across its 18 North Carolina locations. Whether your loved one needs short-term rehabilitation or long-term care, our exceptional staff and comprehensive services are here to support their recovery or ongoing needs.
Pain from arthritis is awful. Bone-on-bone constant pain. It robs you of so much of the stuff you love to do. But there are effective ways to deal with that pain, and I'm not talking about drugs or surgery. Listen, there are exciting new cellular therapies that can get you lasting relief. And the place to go? QC Kinetics. QC Kinetics uses cutting-edge treatments that accelerate your own body's healing properties, revitalizing your joints so you can move again. If you're living with chronic pain from arthritis or injury, you need to know steroids and surgery and pain pills are no longer your only option. Learn how QC Kinetics can use advanced regenerative medicine to treat the pain, enhance your joints, restore your mobility, and give you long-term relief. With no downtime, the local medical professionals at QC Kinetics are ready to help you get your life back with regenerative restorative cellular treatments for your achy joints. This is the future of medicine. Call for a free consultation now in Asheville and in Greenville. 828-333-9517. 828-333-9517. 828-333-9517.
There's a lot of talk about heroes these days.
Hey, buddy, you want to go fishing?
The folks in the funny outfits with superpowers and spandex.
All right, buddy, let me help you.
But at Ingalls, we know that a lot of our heroes
Now you look like a pro.
are a little closer to home. They're the ones who give us what we need for those everyday adventures. That's why we look up to the ones who look out for us.
Don't forget your fish food. Catch a big one.
Ingalls.
See you later, Dad.
All the ingredients for family.
If you're looking to buy, sell, or invest in real estate in the mountains, you need to call the agents at Clarissa Sells WNC, brokered by eXp Realty. Check us out online at clarissasellswnc.com. And did I mention that Clarissa Sells WNC loves teachers? We love teachers so much, we're giving back 25% of our commission at closing. For more information, contact us today at 828-774-7242. 6343 or clarissasellswnc@gmail.com.
This summer, Dale's Pale Ale salutes freedom. Freedom in fabric, or the fabric of freedom. Denim Dales available for a limited time in the blue jean box. Dales salutes everyone who works hard, plays hard, and relaxes hard. Life's more than about what you pack in your denim. Though we're packing beer, so we win. Seize the Dales. Unwind in style with a cool breeze up the jorts. Just look for the beer in the blue jean box. This summer, Dale's Pale Ale salutes
on the
freedom.
weird scale.
Freedom.
There's Vegas, there's Florida, and there's Asheville. Let's get weird, Asheville.
We're back in the Sportsocracy on ESPN Asheville. It's time to get weird, and there's a big thing going on in Chicago this week. I know that Jeremy has had his eyes locked on all of the festivities every evening this week.
What are you referring to? A White Sox game? Maybe the Cubs? maybe that inciting a riot of 100,000 people in the streets of Chicago, and I'm not real sure why they're there.
Where's my bell? I need my bell. Ding. That's the one. Look, I just feel like, if you, for instance, were to escape from police custody in one state, you flee across state lines, you're looking for a place to hide out. I mean, I don't know that I would go to a place where I think every officer in the state of Illinois is stationed right now, which is downtown Chicago. But we had this very thing happen yesterday, where while all of the festivities are going on with all the protests in the streets and stuff up at the outside the Democratic National Convention up in Chicago, a man who escaped from a Mississippi courthouse in Hernando, Mississippi, where he was being held on attempted murder and armed robbery charges. He was awaiting extradition to Houston, and he escaped. They found him yesterday. They have not given any details on how they tracked him down, but he held himself up, he was in a standoff with police for several hours inside a restaurant a half a mile away from the United Center in Chicago. That seems like a bold strategy. I mean, I get wanting to try to disappear where there's a bunch of people, but I'm pretty sure I would go somewhere where there's a bunch of people and not all of the police. Right?
What's that for? What is this for? Fill me in. I'm lost.
I wouldn't be venturing out there.
Tresner in our YouTube chat said all the officers who agreed to be in downtown, which is not as many as you think. He's not wrong. It would be hard for me to be a cop in Chicago. Hey, I arrested this guy. What are you going to do with him? Well, we're going to give him $20 and push him right back out that door. Okay, I'm going to sit in my car, eat donuts. I'll be back. Let you keep paying me even though you won't do anything. Okay, my story is from Rhode Island, and I think that's the first time I've ever said that, but it has a close connotation to here in the Carolinas. It's about James Perry. He's a 25-year-old man from Columbia, South Carolina, and he was detained at T.F. Green International Airport because he had something in his luggage that you're not supposed to have. What would you think I'm talking about, Tank?
Weapon.
Gun would make a lot of sense because, you come from South Carolina. I'm allowed to have a gun here. I go to Rhode Island. I get it. He had 9 pounds of marijuana. 9 pounds. 9 pounds of marijuana. That's not a, oops, I forgot my stash in my bag. Do you realize how many states that marijuana is completely illegal in? Because it ain't many.
Oh, completely illegal?
Completely illegal. Nothing you can do. No medicinal card, no nothing.
Like 15?
It's not even that many. It was single digits. I can't remember the exact number. I didn't know it was that low, but South Carolina's one of them. Guess where he was flying to? South Carolina. That means you get hit on both sides, dum-dum. So, because now it's possession of a Schedule 4 controlled substance and, what's that other word? Intent to traffic. That is a special breed of moron.
Yes.
And he just put it in his luggage. He didn't even try to hide it. They opened, the report that I read said they opened the bag and immediately arrested him. Mm-hmm. It's like, oh, this guy's doing crimes, like big crimes.
It's 12, by the way. As of today, 12 states in the United States still outlaw cannabis for medical and recreational use.
Just legalize it. Just legalize it. For the love of God. I don't even smoke it. Just legalize it.
Yeah. Both of the Carolinas, Alabama, Arkansas, Idaho, Kansas, Kentucky, Louisiana, Mississippi, Montana, Nebraska, and New Hampshire. You, congratulations, are the states of no fun.
Wait, it's not medically legal here?
Nope.
I did not know that.
It is only legal on the Cherokee Indian Reservation.
Oh, yeah, that's it.
Within the Qualla boundary. Now, you can go over there and purchase it. You better not go into Jackson County with it, though. I guarantee you there's...
You can have all the fun you want at Harrah's Cherokee Casino, but...
Yeah, I guarantee you they're going to be waiting on your ass when you leave. Head back to Buncombe County thinking you done something good. No, sir, you did not.
Tank was so excited when we went on now that we're going on a tailgate tour. He's like, God, it's going to be legal in all these states. 2. We hit 2.
Yeah.
We're in
Ohio.
every state that you just said except the way out there ones.
Yeah, hey, it was, we did it while we could. And you know what? Maybe next year.
It was fun in Ohio and fun in Michigan. I mean, not for me. I don't care if it's legal or not. I'm still not going to do it. But
yeah. Hey, maybe next time we go for the combine, it'll be recreational there.
Might be.
You never know. Times, they are a-changin'. 2 wide receivers that need to be talked about together, Jeremy. These are both rookie wide receivers, tied for 10th in fantasy football. We have seen a lot of good rookie seasons in fantasy lately.
I broke the tie, and it's just by a fraction, mainly because I couldn't figure out how to put both of them on the graphic. So I had to make a decision. My number 10 is Malik Neighbors.
Okay.
You're competing with no one. Mm-hmm. There's no receiver on the team. And I get it. Daniel Jones is terrible. Riddle me this. How much terribler is Daniel Jones than Justin Fields?
Yeah, I'm not sure that he is.
I'm not either. DJ Moore, who was quarterbacked by Justin Fields last year, finished 6th.
Yep.
Malik Neighbors is a better receiver than DJ Moore. He finished 6th.
Without ever taking a snap in the NFL.
Well, I mean, I told you when we were going through the process, Malik Neighbors and MHJ who is 11, by the way. I'm sure you all figured that out. But just, if anybody was going, he never paid it off, it's not Roman Dunze. It's Marvin Harrison Jr. The difference between the two, I think their talents are really, really close. I liked MHJ a little better coming into the draft. In terms of the situation you went into, MHJ's got Trey McBride. He's got James Conner. He's got Michael Wilson. They at least have other targets. And look, I think Arizona's going to be better than people think. I think the Giants are going to be, how do I put this pleasantly? I think they are going to be absolutely damn awful. So I look at the mixture of you're competing with Darius Slayton and Wan'Dale Robinson and Isaiah Hodgins and Jalen Hyatt. Oh, and by the way, you don't have a tight end that's any good either. I don't know how the guy doesn't get 12 targets a week. if he catches half of them, which would be the worst catch percentage of any top 50 receiver in the NFL, he still would finish in the top 20. If he never accidentally snuck into the end zone, I'm higher on him than most. And I get it. I think we're overreacting to how bad Daniel Jones was in the preseason. Because here's the part that nobody's talking about. If he's that bad, Drew Lock will be starting for this team by the end of September. And I don't think Drew Lock's significantly worse than Justin Fields. I don't think any of them are significantly worse than Justin Fields. So I can't hold that far against you.
What about Tommy Cutlets, though?
Oh, he's not good and he can't throw, but that's the three, and a lot of things would have to go wrong before we got there.
Well, I don't know. I mean, Drew Lock already got hurt in the preseason.
I'll be honest with you. I think before you got to Tommy DeVito, and you tell me I'm crazy here, I think the Giants would make a play on Russell Wilson before we got to that point.
Yeah.
Mike Tannenbaum said this morning the Vikings should trade for Russell Wilson, which was, thank you, Mikey T, for just continuing to say things that give us content. I greatly appreciate that. I'm not that worried about it. And I think the talent on these guys is special. Of the four best rookie seasons in NFL history among wide receivers, 3 of them have been in the last 3 years.
Yep.
And I think there's a reason for that. Guys the NFL is becoming more like the college game. So guys come in, and the fact that they don't run a great route tree doesn't really matter. Puka Nacua, one of the big knocks on him was that he had not run an NFL level route tree. Didn't matter.
Nope.
It didn't matter. He came in and absolutely dominated. And I think Neighbors and MHJ are going to do the same thing. If you want to have Harrison ahead of Neighbors, I have no problem. Mm-hmm. But there's not another receiver that I can put ahead of them.
Yeah, and I will, seeing as how the other day I had Malik Neighbors on my do not draft list, which I still would not. Go ahead.
Is there another receiver that you feel like should have been in the top 10 that wasn't?
Well,
say the name. I know who you want to say. Just his name starts with a D and ends with an Avante Adams.
Yeah, that is the name that comes to mind.
All right, so you didn't want to have Malik Neighbors in the top 10 because you're worried about his quarterback.
Yes.
Am I not worried about Davante Adams' quarterback?
I am, but I'm not as worried about that because it's Davante Adams.
I don't disagree with you. I think in terms of talent, they're way closer than you would ever think.
You know, much in the same way that you were talking about DJ Moore being with a worse quarterback. Yeah, but he's not a rookie. See, and maybe I put too much emphasis on that.
You do, because you've said that four times in the lead up to this show. Mm-hmm. We've had a rookie finish in the top 5 of fantasy football 3 of the last 4 years.
1. Or more than that.
We've had 1 each year 3 of the last 4 years.
Okay. MHJ is that one for me.
My argument would be name me the time that we've had 2 this good that came in the same year.
Now that is a better question.
I'm not telling you that happened.
I don't know the answer to that.
It's just look at there were extenuating circumstances. I think in terms of talent, Malik Neighbors and MHJ walked in this league as 2 top 15 guys.
Okay.
We didn't have that last year. You had a bunch of mid-20s guys. 2022, it was Drake London, Garrett Wilson, Chris Olave. I felt like Wilson and Olave came in super talented. I just didn't like the quarterback situations. Mm-hmm. And they didn't
matter for either of them.
And it didn't matter for either one of them. Drake London, he was a little raw and didn't have a quarterback. Jamar Chase, Jalen Waddle, Devontae Smith, all 3 of them finished in the top, I want to say it was in the top 20. If not, it was the top 25. This is a rare scenario. You had 2 wide receivers go in the top 6. and they deserved it. I feel like both will fall because of that thing you said. They're rookies. I'm telling you, it doesn't matter.
Yeah, maybe so. Maybe it doesn't matter. There haven't been a whole lot of examples to me of wide receivers who came in with awful quarterbacks their rookie year and were still successful. The best example I could find before the show started, as Jeremy said, we were talking about this, and I had to find an example to try to explain this to myself better of how much it does not matter. I'm talking myself out of this as we are going down this path. I'm talking myself out of it, but for the sake of argument, I'm keeping up the I'm not sure about Malik Neighbors thing. You remember the name Anquan Bolden? It was a long time ago. Colby was still in diapers when Anquan Bolden came into this league in 2003. But he had Josh McCown throwing the ball to him. And it didn't matter. He was that good. He was the only weapon. And he had 100 catches, 101 catches actually, 1,377 yards and 8 touchdowns. Can Malik Neighbors, as the only weapon in New York, get that from Daniel Jones? I have no doubts that he could. It's just not something that in a fantasy draft, when I'm faced with the decision that I'm going to pick him over MHJ, because I like MHJ's scenario better.
And I
don't know that I could take him over Chris Olave, and I hate Derek Carr.
You should certainly be able to take him over Chris Olave.
But I've seen Olave do it. I've seen Olave have great success without a quarterback.
In the last 3 years, you've had top 10 receivers that were quarterbacked by Jacoby Brissett, Aiden O'Connell, and Justin Fields. I wouldn't worry about it as much as you seem to be.
You're in the Sportsocracy, and this is ESPN Asheville. We'll continue with wide receiver rankings here on the Sportsocracy Fantasy Football Marathon after the break.
Are you a chronic interrupter? Incapable of letting other people talk? Do those people ask, how do you sleep at night? Then you should go to Mattress Firm. They have a 120-night sleep trial, so you can get your money back if a bed's not right. That way,
we're good.
Someone like you can sleep. Get matched at Mattress Firm. Sleep at night. Restrictions apply. See store or website for details.
Hey there. Gerber Life would like to talk to you about the importance of guaranteed life insurance for when you...
No, thank you.
I get it. Nobody likes to think about life insurance because it means having to think about the end of... So I'll make this short and sweet. If you're 50 plus or 50 to 75 in New York, you can apply for Gerber Life Guaranteed Life Insurance with guaranteed acceptance regardless of your health. Guaranteed acceptance means you don't need a medical exam. In fact, you don't even have to fill out a health questionnaire. For a free quote, just visit GerberLifeFamily.com. Then, when that thing you don't want to think about does eventually happen, and you know it will,
I'm not listening.
Your family can use the insurance money to help cover the cost of your final expenses, or anything else. Now that's worth thinking about. Gerber Life Guaranteed Life Insurance. For a free quote, visit GerberLifeFamily.com today. See website for terms and restrictions.
People are talking about Summit Dental in Asheville. Just check out their Google reviews. One patient writes, I'll start by saying I really hate going to the dentist. My anxiety is always through the roof and I'm always so nervous. However, Summit Dental may be the first place that my anxiety is actually not going through the roof. The staff that works at Summit are an incredible team. They're kind, knowledgeable, and funny. I left feeling confident that we have a plan to help restore my teeth and get me on track to a better smile. Find out more about Summit Dental at AshevilleSummitDental.com or call 828-277-6868.
Cullowhee is the place to be for the Catamount Football home opener on Saturday, September 7th at 1 p.m. as nationally ranked WCU takes on Campbell at Bob Waters Field, E.J. Whitmire Stadium. It's Whiteout Whitmire as all fans are encouraged to wear white. The first 5,000 fans get a free Whiteout t-shirt.
Advanced ticket sales start at just $16 for adults and $11 for kids. For tickets, visit catamountsports.com or call 800-34-GO-WCU. Proudly sponsored by Ingalls Markets and iHeartMedia Asheville. Go Cats!
Do better, be better every day. That's the Parks Promise. This is JW with Parks Fort Hendersonville, and I'm so excited to introduce our first Parks Promise community hero, the American Red Cross of Western North Carolina. The need for blood is so important, and in the summer months, the need is even greater. Did you know that you can donate every 56 days? Save lives this summer. Head to redcross.org to schedule an appointment or find a blood drive near you. Congratulations to the American Red Cross, our Parks Promise community hero.
This is your Exergen Temporal Scanner weather forecast on ESPN Asheville.
I said it this morning, I'll say it again, more beautiful weather is expected, and I don't see anything changing here except temperatures over the next few days, maybe through the weekend, at least the early part of next week, and those temperatures actually could approach 90 degrees again. Close to 80 today, sunshine, may fall short by a degree or two. Tonight, some clouds, still cool in the upper 50s. Sunny Thursday, 80. Friday, sunshine, 82. From the Weather Channel meteorologist Ray Stajic.
This report is sponsored by Marion Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram.
Head down the mountain to Marion Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram at 44 Worley Road or visit us online at marioncdjr.com. That's MARIONCDJR.com during the Make This the Summer sales event. Check out our unforgettably great lease offers on the all-new Jeep Wranglers and Dodge Hornets.
When you're ready to go back in the day, y'all gonna make me lose my mind. Check out the all-new Throwback 101.1.
This is how we do it. Allow me to introduce myself.
Asheville's classic hip-hop and R&B. Come on.
And now, another insurance story from
Smart Bunny. Smart Bunny.
Wow, I wonder how much all this costs. Shh. Well, it can't be cheap. Do we even have enough for our own you-know-what?
Honey. Shh. I heard he bought final expense insurance through the Smart Bunny app.
The Smart Bunny app?
Like on your phone?
I know what an app is.
For the love of all things decent, be quiet.
Get up to $25,000 of lifelong coverage for funeral expenses, debts, and other needs for as little as $14 a month. And no medical exam is required. So hop on the Smart Bunny app now and grab some final expense insurance.
Honey, are you buying the insurance, like, right now?
Time is precious.
So true.
Smart Bunny Insurance.
Smart Bunny. Smart Bunny.
Your insurance super app. Insurance is sold by Smart Bunny Insurance Services and underwritten by various companies. Coverage exclusions and limitations may apply.
From the Ingalls Studios, this is ESPN Asheville, WPEK, W225CJ Fairview, WMXF Waynesville, and iHeart radio station.
The Sportsocracy.
It fires me up, man. I love it. Say it one more time.
The Sportsocracy.
Shake it back!
Beer City's best sports talk.
It is gross.
Just earlier.
They are mature, actually. You just have to get to know them better.
Your lunchtime dose of dumbassery. Live from the Ingalls studio.
We're back in the Sportsocracy on ESPN Asheville, 92.9 FM. 880 AM, 1400, heard terrestrially around western North Carolina, Buncombe County, Haywood County, and, of course, everywhere you go on the iHeart Radio app. So if you're traveling around, of course, you want to have us on the app so you don't have to worry about shifting signals back and forth. And also, you can watch us live on YouTube. Just go to thesportsocracy.com, click the live video link, subscribe to the channel, and join us in the chat. Third hour on this Wednesday, final program of the week for me, as I'll be hitting the road tomorrow to go cover high school football in Charlotte. We'll be a part of the Panthers doubleheader this year for the high school kickoff games there at Bank of America Stadium. Brian Hall going to be on the call for that, and then you'll hear us again on the Buncombe County High School football game of the week when we jet back on Friday, and it'll be the first go-around for the new team on AM 1400, TuscolaRadio.com, the Tuscola broadcast. Colby will be doing your scoreboard updates and running the board and such, and we got a brand-new crew on Tuscola football this year.
Yep. Chris Kelly, Terry Shin should be fun. Crompton looking to A lot of new faces. New faces from new places. So we'll see how she goes.
It's that time of year. Kickoff is here, and your fantasy football team might need a little bit of help. That's what we're here for, or namely, that's what Jeremy's here for. I will be willing to give you my advice. Just only go with my advice if Jeremy agrees with it. It's kind of the standing rule of the sports.
That was okay. I mean,
what
interesting way to put that, but okay.
Am I wrong?
It's a lot meaner when you say it to yourself, or it's a lot less mean when you say it to yourself. So okay.
Every fantasy football decision I make, I run by my general manager first.
Tank, I will tell you this as the guy that runs all of our social media, you ain't the only one. I've always just wondered if
that's what he's here for.
Are you people at least honest with the people in your league that I ask the ESPN guy this? I don't care. I'll answer anything you send me. I live with my phone in my hand. So if you got a question, you feel free to send it to me on Twitter. God, I am struggling with English. I'm telling you, you're going to have a dementia patient as a partner before this year is over. At ESPN Draft Nerd. I'll answer any question you got. And I love talking to people. Ryan Fade just reached out to me. We talked about all kinds of stuff for actually over the course of several days. I enjoy doing that. I always feel like people feel like they're bothering me. You're really not. I especially these days that I work at Mullet Manor, I live behind this desk. I got a sweet TV in here. I've got surround sound in here. And I've got my computer in here. So I'm pretty comfortable. Feel free. You got a question? Shoot it over.
We should have like stamps that we put on our fantasy football logos of mullet approved.
And just put a mullet on your fantasy football team logo. I'm super here for
that. He is our go-to, even my go-to when it comes to trying to navigate the waters of fantasy football. In our fantasy football marathon this week, we've been talking about wide receivers, our wide receiver rankings, or Jeremy's wide receiver rankings. We're past the top 11. We just left off with Malik Neighbors and Marvin Harrison Jr., the two rookies who are so close to each other that he had to break the tie just before we went on the air. Where does the list go after that?
Davante Adams is 12.
As he should be. Still one of the best wide receivers in the NFL. The skill is there. The experience is there. He doesn't have a quarterback, which sucks. But Gardner Minshew is better than Aiden O'Connell. That is the only saving grace he has at this moment. I'm not sure what else you can be excited about for Davante Adams other than the prospect that he might be traded to the Jets.
That is potentially a positive. Look, Davante Adams has been really successful with Aaron Rodgers. He was really successful in that 1 year with Derek Carr. What he was last year fits about right here. He finished 10th last year. And you kind of have to drill down into that and realize that almost half his points came from 3 games. That's not good. That's really hard to forecast. And yeah, he has, in terms of talent, he's higher than this. He's 31. He has a really up and down quarterback situation. And now there are a lot of mouths to feed in that offense. Jacoby Myers is a legit 2 in this league. He's got 2 legit tight ends. Trey Tucker's the deep threat. I mean, that's 5 guys that you have to keep happy. And it's just hard to do. So for me, he fits in right here at 12, and that's where he belongs.
Yeah.
I mean, do you have any qualm with what I just said?
I don't. And I was trying to think, yeah, there are other mouths to feed there. but he's so far and above the rest of them and talent-wise, I feel like, that it doesn't really – I don't think it's going to affect him all that much.
I don't think it affects him that much from what we saw last year. He'd had 330-plus points every year before last year for almost half a decade. I don't see a path he's doing that again.
It was so awful last year. I mean, if you watch the receiver series, that was the way to get the great snapshot of what Davante Adams went through last year with the Josh McDaniels implosion, the hiring of Antonio Pierce, and the struggles that he had of, I am the best damn player on this football field. How the hell are you not finding me? Much like we saw from, A.J. Brown a couple of times in Philadelphia last year. Much different scenario there, as he actually had a quarterback and Davante didn't. But I think, at least my hope is, that this year it will be different to the point of he'll have more ability to be, what's the word I'm looking for, consistent. Most of his touchdowns won't come from 3 games.
And that's why I have him at 12. I do think he will be a little more consistent. I don't know if the 40-point games, he had one 40-point game, one in the high 20s and one in the low 30s. I don't necessarily know that I see those coming. I think the Raiders are going to run the ball way more than people think.
All right, after Davante at 13.
After Davante's where Drake London comes in. I love him. I love the talent on Drake London. I think he's a phenomenal big possession receiver. It also should not shock you that the player after Drake London is Michael Pittman Jr., because I'm not sure they're not the same person. I've never seen them in the same room at the same time. My fear with both of them is it's different, but it's kind of the same. Neither one of them separate particularly well because neither one of them's fast. They're both big-bodied possession receivers. Pittman gets I will say, wildly inaccurate quarterback in Anthony Richardson. I don't know what to expect out of that. Drake London, I've never seen Kirk Cousins really succeed with a guy like that. Have you? I mean, think back all the way to the days in Washington. Who's the non-burner that he has really succeeded with?
Hadn't really had one.
Exactly. Stephon Diggs, much faster than people think. He was good with Adam Thielen. Adam Thielen was always open because he was a tactician as a route runner. Drake London's not. He's a big body guy that beats you at the point of the catch. And I just feel like Kyle Pitts fits Kirk Cousins better than Drake London does. That being said, I also think that offense is going to be really, really, really good. It's hard for me to look at Atlanta and go, well, you have one of my favorite tight ends I've ever graded. You have one of my favorite running backs I've ever graded. A wide receiver that I was grossly higher on than everybody in the industry. Now you had a legit quarterback. Oh, by the way, you have one of the best offensive lines in the league. Kind of hard for me to figure out how that's not going to be good.
Mm-hmm. And then you also have a defense that gets better by the day.
Yeah, Justin Simmons and Matthew Judon. We hadn't talked about that because that happened while we were gone.
Mm-hmm. It makes everyone else in the NFC South nervous as hell. I can promise you that. Because things keep going south for New Orleans day by day. I mean, it appears that your head coach gets stupider by the second. Carolina obviously has their struggles. And then you got Tampa Bay trying to hang on to status quo. Atlanta's the only team in this division that's legitimately, tangibly getting better in front of your eyes.
If it was talent alone, Atlanta would dog walk this division. And I guess I've been burned by Atlanta too many times.
Mm-hmm.
And look, I like Raheem Morris. We had a great time with him at the combine. I literally changed almost my whole opinion on him. Just meeting him face to face. I get why he keeps getting these jobs because he is so damn likable. I don't know how good of a coach he actually is, but man, he says all the right things.
Mm-hmm.
He mixed that in with Zach Robinson leading this offense. I mean, I know I'm of the belief that you shouldn't really believe in a guy just because he had dinner with Sean McVay. Zach Robinson was there for quite some time.
He is a sharp guy, and I feel like this has to be a turning point moment for Atlanta. Not that heads are going to roll if it doesn't happen. It's just it all lines up perfectly for that to happen. You know, for all the cosmic tumblers to align and for you to take over this division. I just don't know that you're going to do it because you constantly find ways to step on your own tail. Clip your own wings, if you will, for the Bucks.
Tresner says he's in the 0% London club. I get it. I believe I have a much bigger belief of how bad of a coach Arthur Smith actually is. And that literally anybody coming into this spot is such an improvement that you will stop seeing those absolute dud games that he had, see a couple more of the big boom games, and then he'll fall more into that even 15 to 20 range more frequently.
Yep. Michael Pittman, meanwhile, is the 14th receiver on your list. And with Anthony Richardson back there, I mean, yes, there's a lot of uncertainty, right? You don't have Gardner Minshew to fall back on anymore. And I don't think Joe Falco, that's going to happen again.
Well, Pittman Jr. finished 13th last year with Gardner Minshew, and he missed a game. I don't really see much changing with – the thing about Anthony Richardson that I actually find to be a little bit of a positive for Pittman is that you have to keep your head on such a swivel with him that I think it's going to – you're going to deal with less double coverages. You're going to get more Michael Pittman one-on-one with receivers that are way smaller than him. And all I really need you to do is just duck into that backfield one good time, and now it's just me and you. And this little 6-foot corner has to contend with a guy that's every bit as big as I am. And he's so good at the point of the catch that he's Michael Pittman Jr. to me is the James Conner of wide receivers. There's nothing sexy about him at all. But he was one of the most consistent wide receivers in the league last year.
So if you're looking for low floor,
that'd be high floor.
High floor, excuse me. If you're looking for high floor, relatively low ceiling, right? He doesn't have to like top 5 ceiling. That's not happening with this.
No, I don't think he has top 5. I think he does have back into the top 10 ceiling. I mean, look, there was Michael Pittman was one of, I think, 3 receivers in the NFL that going into week 16 had one single-digit game all year long. He was in double figures every week. Now, he was only in the 20s 3 times. That's safe. The problem is that you're having to take it a little higher than I want you to. But I get it. Because you have so many guys that are like the back end of this, the teens here. Where, I mean, they're throwing zeros. Yeah, they have boom games too, but they also have games where you forget they're even on the field.
You're in the Sportsocracy, and this is ESPN Asheville. Michael Pittman Jr. at number 14. We'll pick up with the wide receiver rankings here on the Sportsocracy Fantasy Football Marathon after this.
That's when Carmen made an appointment at QC Kinetics.
I'll tell you one thing. I got a spring in my step. The bounce is back in my step. My quality of life improving exponentially since I've been going to QC Kinetics.
QC Kinetics has treated over 35,000 patients like Carmen using their own healing components.
You good?
Them into damaged knees, hips, shoulders, and backs. No surgery, no drugs.
The pain's gone. Quality of life so much better. And mentally, I'm in such a better place because I know that I'm not going to wake up to the same old struggles that I have been dealing with every single day. 10 months ago, no joke, I was a prime candidate for a knee replacement. Today, I'm not because of the treatment I'm receiving at QC Kinetics.
Carmen finally got relief, and it was easy, starting with a free consultation at QC Kinetics.
Call QC Kinetics, 828-333-9517. That's 828-333-9517. 828-333-9517.
We need your help to protect your right to AM radio in your car. AM is always there in times of need with the key information for our community. The overwhelming majority of legislators support a bill to keep AM radio in cars, but time's running out. Please text the two letters AM to 52886 and ask Congress to bring this bill to the floor for a vote now.
Message and data rates may apply. You may receive up to 4 messages a month. Text stop to stop. A message from the station.
iHeart Podcast Update this week on your free iHeartRadio app.
Wick and Jake. Talking Jake is back in action, talking about the biggest storylines across the world of sports. Everything you need to know. Trades, injuries, prospects, draft previews, predictions, and so much more, all wrapped up into 30-minute episodes. Jimmy's 3 Things. Topics ranging from analytical deep dives to behind-the-scenes player drama to team projections through the rest of the season. Whatever's currently piquing his interest.
Listen to these shows and more on America's #1 podcast network, iHeart. Open your free iHeart app and search now to start listening.
Do better, be better every day. That's the Parks Promise. This is JW with Parks Fort Hendersonville, and I'm so excited to introduce our first Parks Promise community hero, the American Red Cross of Western North Carolina. The need for blood is so important, and in the summer months, the need is even greater. Did you know that you can donate every 56 days? Save lives this summer. Head to redcross.org to schedule an appointment or find a blood drive near you. Congratulations to the American Red Cross, our Parks Promise community hero.
There's a lot of talk about heroes these days.
Hey buddy, you want to go fishing?
The folks in the funny outfits with superpowers and spandex.
All right, buddy, let me help you.
But at Ingalls, we know that a lot of our heroes
now you look like a
are a little closer to home. They're the ones who give us what we need for those everyday adventures. That's why we look up to the ones who look out for us.
Don't forget your fish food. Catch a big one.
Ingalls.
See you later, Dad.
All the ingredients for family.
If you're looking to buy, sell, or invest in real estate in the mountains, you need to call the agents at Clarissa Sells WNC, brokered by eXp Realty. Check us out online at clarissasellswnc.com. Download our free app on Google Play or the App Store. Type in Asheville Home Search. You'll be able to connect with our team and see all the available homes for sale in our area. For more information, contact us today at 828-774-6343 or clarissasellswnc@gmail.com.
The Sportsocracy.
Why are you smiling?
Because I love football.
We're back in the Sportsocracy. This is ESPN Asheville. Fantasy football marathon, continuing with wide receiver discussions, continuing through the rankings here. Jeremy, we're up to number 15 on the wide receiver list.
Jalen Waddle.
I was waiting for that name to come around. And is it just because Tyreek is there that he's captain in what you think he can achieve as compared to Drake London and Michael Pittman?
Well, I mean, the problem with Jalen Waddle that I have always run into is, you know, it feels like he has a ton of big games, but he really doesn't. You know, you go back and look through the game logs. I mean, he's had 100 yards like 6 times in his entire career. And only 3 of those have been with Tyreek Hill. I feel like Tyreek just really took the ceiling off of him. Do you agree with that?
Yes, I do.
I mean, because, all right, so and I looked up the stat to make sure I got it right. In 21, he only had one game as a rookie where he went over 100 yards. It was against Carolina, whose secondary was terrible. In his second year, this is where I got the stat wrong. In his second year, he had 6 before Tyreek. 2022, he's great. Last year, in the entire season, he did it 3 times. And one of them was a game that Tyreek didn't play. So, I just, and 2 of them, oddly enough, were against the Jets. Figure that out. Tell me that that's not the most infuriating thing you'll ever hear, that the 300-yard games he had last year were 2 against the Jets and 1 against the Patriots, who might have been 2 of the 4 best secondaries he played all year. Meanwhile, he goes up against the Giants and has, 5 catches for 35 yards? He's just maddeningly inconsistent. And I think he's super talented. I just think Tyreek takes the ceiling off of him. And frankly, I could say the same thing about the guy I have at 16. Okay. I love the talent. Chris Olave. I love your talent. I hate your quarterback. I'm officially into full-on hate of your quarterback.
He burned you for the last time, huh?
Well, it's not so much that he burned me. I don't know exactly what I don't know what this is going to look like. You know, Olave, all the things that I just said about 100-yard games, Olave had 5 last year. 3 of them were in 4 weeks. 2 of them were in the first 3 weeks of the season. And then he has these 1 for 4, 2 for 12, 4 for 28, 3 for 26. And I remember a few of those games pretty well that Derek Carr was just so rattled. And I know a lot of Saint fans think they're going to turn this over to Spencer Rattler. I just don't buy it. I think you made this bed, and this is the bed that you're going to sleep in.
Yeah. When you invest in a quarterback, you have to go down that path as far as you can possibly go. And I'm not sure that we're there with Derek Carr. I'm not sure that the coaching staff, right, the shot callers in New Orleans feel like it's we have to ditch it and go to something else.
Well, I mean, here's what you got to remember.
I feel like they're at that point.
Dennis Allen, who at the end of the day is the one making this call, whether you like it or not, is looking at this and saying, this is my career. I will never get another shot as a head coach. Who am I going to leave this up to? And I struggle to believe he's going to get to a point where where Spencer Rattler is the right answer to that. I just don't buy it. It doesn't make any sense.
After Chris Olave, who's next?
Before we do that, we have breaking news.
Ooh.
Who's gonna break the news? Who's gonna break the news? Who's gonna break the news? Who's gonna break the news?
I've got to stop looking at that screen when you do that, just because
you can't. You can't not look away. It's like a car crash.
That's a good way to put that. Bo Nix is officially QB1 of the Denver Broncos.
Woo!
Do you care even a little bit?
I mean, it's a nice little headline story for a Wednesday before the end of preseason, but no.
Have
as
you
far
looked?
As wins and losses goes, this is not going to matter much for Denver. I don't.
Have you looked at the schedule that Bo Nix gets to start the year against? Week 1 at the Seattle Seahawks. Oh. Week 2 home for the Pittsburgh Steelers. Week 3 at the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. West Coast team coming east, and it's a 1:00 kick. Oh, but buddy, I'm sure it gets better after that. Week 4 at the New York Jets.
Oh, brutal.
Oh, I'm not done yet. Week 5, the Las Vegas Raiders with that defensive line against your offensive line. Week 6, the Los Angeles Chargers. Week 7, on a short week on a Thursday night, at the New Orleans Saints. Yikes. Yikes.
Throwing them to the wolves. That's
yes.
what that looks like.
Yeah, and I'll go ahead and tell you, it's not going to go well. It's not going to go well. I spent a full week with this guy in Mobile, Alabama, and I'm telling you right now, it's not hard to see his deficiencies. You want me to tell you who Bo Nix is going to look like?
Who's that?
Baker Mayfield. That's exactly how this is going to look. He will beat bad teams. Of what I just said, I won't be shocked if he goes to Tampa Bay and beats your team. I won't be shocked if he finds a way to beat the Pittsburgh Steelers. You know what I will be just dumbfounded? If he finds a way to beat the Seattle Seahawks in Seattle. If he finds a way to beat the Jets in New York. If he finds a way to beat the Chargers, who I think are exponentially better than them. If he finds a way on a short week to go beat the Saints. If you're a Denver fan, here's what you need to be. This would be the hope. And I'm just telling you, you play one of the toughest schedules in the NFL, so it's kind of hard for me to find much. If you can go into that long week, so you have the short week where you go Chargers Saints. If you can come out of that at 2-5 and not just be looking at this kid like, what in the hell have we done? You get 10 days going into Carolina. Then you go at Baltimore, at Kansas City. That's your first 10 weeks of the season.
Good night.
There are 3 wins on that schedule total. That's why I'm shocked that they're starting him to start the year. That's why I kept saying it would be Jared Stidham. Because I don't know how you're going to come out of that and the luster still be on this little diamond. And then you do go Falcons, Raiders, Browns, Colts, Chargers, Bengals, Chiefs. Good God, what did Denver do to they did something to Roger Goodell because he just went, hey, watch this.
There's a bunch of playoff teams, playoff potential teams that are on that list.
Well, I mean, just look at how many of the best defenses in the NFL he has to play. Jets, Ravens, Chiefs, Browns, Chiefs twice, Seahawks, Steelers. I love that Raiders defense. It's a tall ask, and I don't have lofty expectations for Bo Nix. I don't think this is going to go well. The question is, do you look at this? Do you look at this at the end of the year and go, that's not a starting quarterback in this league? I mean, because it's not like they put him in a great position to succeed. I mean, just think about all those teams I just said and understand that the 2 and 3 receivers on their first official depth chart were Tim Patrick and Josh Reynolds. And just think about how that matches up with the New York Jets. You got Cortland Sutton on being defended by Sauce Gardner, Tim Patrick being defended by DJ Reed, and Michael Carter II on Josh Reynolds.
Good luck.
How many open window throws do you anticipate him seeing?
Not many.
It's just, this has recipe for absolute unmitigated disaster written all over it.
You painted yourself into this corner.
Sure did. Had to have a quarterback. We got our guy, even though 5 other teams took quarterbacks ahead of him. And yeah, I'm sure there's 6 quarterbacks in this class that everybody.
I mean, I guess the only positive I can see about Bo Nix and facing this gauntlet of a schedule, and knowing that there's not much hope for success in the immediate future, I would probably say out of all the rookie quarterbacks that are going to be thrown to the wolves, though, because of his experience and bouncing around like he has and being in different systems and stuff, and I think he's probably the most equipped to handle something like that or to survive it and not let it destroy him completely. I'm not saying it's going to be good. I'm not saying he's going to be great at some point. All I'm saying is maybe he's the most apt to handle this.
When you say to handle this, do you mean and look like a competent quarterback or not cry on camera?
That not cry on camera. That's the only hope here.
Man, that's a low bar.
Like if we don't have a moment where he's talking about seeing ghosts on the sideline, that's a win.
That's what I'm seeing. I'm looking at a middle of the league interior of that offensive line going up against some of the best defensive tackles in this league. You play some of the best secondaries in this league. Oh, by the way, your defense is absolutely god-awful. This is a recipe for disaster.
I was a huge Bo Nix fan in college, guys, but this sounds like the equivalent of getting thrown to the Taco Bell after the Pokemon convention is done.
That's fair. You're in the Sportsocracy. This is ESPN Asheville. We'll take the break. When we come back, we will wrap up the discussion. Last segment of the Wednesday program here. Fantasy Football Marathon rolls on with the wide receiver rankings for 2024.
This is your Exergen Temporal Scanner weather forecast on ESPN Asheville.
I said it this morning, I'll say it again. More beautiful weather is expected.
You good, mate?
Changing here, except temperatures over the next few days. Maybe through the weekend, at least the early part of next week. And those temperatures actually could approach 90 degrees again. Close to 80 today. Sunshine may fall short by a degree or two. Tonight, some clouds, still cool in the upper 50s. Sunny Thursday, 80. Friday, sunshine, 82. From the Weather Channel meteorologist Ray Stajic.
This report is sponsored by KFC. When it comes to KFC's latest saucy nuggets lineup, this drip don't quit. Take your pick from Chipotle Ranch, Mango Habanero, Honey Garlic, Korean Barbecue, or Honey Barbecue, and get 10 saucy nuggets for just $5.99 each. It's finger-licking good.
Fall is the perfect excuse to update my wardrobe. So I went to Kohl's and fell in love with dressing up all over again. And all for less. With their friends and family sale, I saved 20% on polished pieces for me and my husband. Like dresses, button-downs, and shoes. Plus, I earn Kohl's cash. Don't take my word for it. Get to Kohl's and discover fall faves for yourself. Select styles. Offers end August 25th. Some exclusions apply. See store or Kohl's.com for details.
Don't miss our 2024 iHeartRadio Music Festival presented by Capital One.
Las Vegas, and you're having a good time.
Friday and Saturday, September 20th and 21st. Streaming live only on Hulu. iHeartRadio, let's go! Get tickets now at AXS.com.
As fall approaches, you have a lot to prepare for. Back to school, sporting events, family gatherings, and staying on top of your health. The virus that causes COVID-19 continues to evolve. So this fall, no matter what you're prepping for, you can prioritize your family's health and make a game plan for COVID-19 vaccination. Ask your doctor or pharmacist to learn more. Sponsored by Pfizer.
Showtime Sports and Mountain Graphics have teamed up under new ownership by an Asheville native to better serve our community with the finest custom apparel and unique branded items at the best price. Showtime Sports and Mountain Graphics can customize whatever you, your team, business, or local group may need through high-quality screen printing, embroidery, and laser engraving right here in Asheville. Free personal delivery within Buncombe County and a reduced delivery fee anywhere in Western North Carolina. Visit ShowtimeSportsAVL.com and MountainGraphicsAVL.com. Your one-stop custom apparel shops.
Attention drivers. Ingalls Markets is hiring experienced CDLA holders for our local fleet. As an Ingalls driver, you start earning paid time off on day one. Our local drivers earn an average salary of $75,000 a year, but that's not all. You'll also enjoy great benefits like medical, dental, and vision insurance, plus a 401k with company matching and weekly pay. If you have a year or more of driving experience, apply online today at inglescareers.com. That's inglescareers.com.
This summer, Dale's Pale Ale salutes freedom. Freedom in fabric, or the fabric of freedom. Denim Dale's available for a limited time in the blue jean box. Dale's salutes everyone who works hard, plays hard, and relaxes hard. Life's more than about what you pack in your dinner. Though, we're packing beer, so we win. Seize the Dales. Unwind in style with a cool breeze up the jorts. Just look for the beer in the blue jean box.
The Sportsocracy.
These guys are a f***ing disgrace.
We're back on ESPN Asheville. This is the Sportsocracy. Follow us on all the social medias at the Sportsocracy and, of course, thesportsocracy.com, where you can click that live video link in the middle of the page. Subscribe to the YouTube channel so you can get in on our chats each and every day. The fantasy football marathon continues here as we continue to talk wide receivers, the best bets for using your fantasy draft capital on this year. Jeremy Green, where did we leave off here?
16. Chris Olave.
16. Okay.
Needless to say, we will not be getting through 50, which is what we originally.
No, definitely not. As much like many times since I lost all the weight, my eyes were bigger than my stomach, and we thought 50 was going to be a good number. Not so much.
We were curious how we were going to make 3 hours out of 50. We made 2 hours and 38 minutes out of 16.
It's just a lot of angles to cover. Who's number 17?
Deebo Samuel. The injuries scare me to death. The Brandon Ayuk thing scares me to death. And then the angle that I don't ever hear anybody come from. What happens if everybody stays healthy? Mm-hmm. You got 4 guys that a lot of people are putting in the top 15 at their own positions, 2 of which are going in the top 3 of their own position in McCaffrey and Kittle. What if they did stay healthy for 17 weeks? And you had all 4 of them. Do you really think Brock Purdy can sustain that? Because I don't.
No. I mean, the only, or I guess the major reason that Brandon Ayuk popped last year was because of the absence of Deebo. Was it not? I mean, when Deebo wasn't in the lineup.
Well, he played 15 games.
And that helped the relationship there. He became the reliable one.
In his career, how many times has Deebo Samuel played every game in a season?
Never.
It's never happened. Never. Mm-mm. And so you just go in knowing. The thing is that you go back to that season in 21. 77 catches, 1,400 yards, 6 touchdowns. Oh, by the way, he ran for 365 yards that year, too, and had 8 rushing touchdowns.
Yep. But then he got paid.
And then he got paid, and it's never been the same. But I know he can do it. Mm-hmm. I think he's going too high. Right now, his ADP is wide receiver 13, and that's just insane to me.
Agreed.
I struggled to put him this high because I'll be honest with you, there's a couple guys behind him that if it came down to it, I'm not sure I wouldn't take them over him.
It's just one of those guys that, to me, has aged like a dairy product. Or at least the opinion of him has. Number 18.
Crazy part on Deebo, he's still only 28 years old. I feel like he's been in this league for about 28 years. Nope, he's been on this earth 28 years. DJ Moore is my 18.
He will get his for the most part, but now there are a lot more mouths to feed. And there's a rookie quarterback.
The rookie quarterback scares me more than the mouths to feed.
Okay.
Because, yes, what you just said is not inaccurate. There are more mouths to feed. But Cole Kmet's not a target monster. I easily could see a path that his numbers come down pretty drastically with the addition of Keenan Allen. Mm-hmm. Last year, he had 90 targets. He caught 73 of them. I could see his targets coming down into the 70s. And I don't think I'm even being spicy there. DJ Moore, for me, I mean, he caught 96 balls last year. Targets were 136, which was the second highest he's ever had. So let's just say he goes back to 118. He did that twice in Carolina. Had 63 catches one year, had 66 in the other, had 1,200 yards on 66 catches. I don't think it would be that bad. I think he falls somewhere in that 75 to 80 catch range, and he's still 1,200 yards. Question is the touchdowns. Even if he splits the difference and has 6, he still belongs right about right here.
DJ Moore at 18, 19.
Stick with the abbreviated first names. DK Metcalf. Now, you talk about a guy that the catch percentage is brutal. But, man, the yards per reception are good. Mm-hmm. He had 2 blippy years in 21 and 22 where the offense changed to a point with Shane Steichen, and I didn't love what I saw. He's been over 15.5 yards per reception every other year of his career. And I think he's going to stay that way with Mike McDonald. I kind of look at him, and I know these are two very different players. I see him being used the same way that Zay Flowers was in Baltimore last year. You're not going to get inundated with targets. I mean, I think 119's that might be right, even if it might be a little high. And he's probably not going to have 75 receptions. He'll probably have 65. But he could have 10 touchdowns. And if you play that out, 65 catches at 16 and a half, 17 yards per reception, which is where he was at last year, that's still 1,100 yards.
You throw in the touchdowns with that, then he may be a value from where he's going right now.
I think he is a value.
All right, how about the number 20 spot?
20 is who I just compared him to, Zay Flowers. If you had to take a stab at yards per reception on Zay Flowers last year, what would you say it was?
I'll go 13 and a half.
I would have thought you would have said higher than that. You're still too high. It's 11.1.
Wow.
He had 77 catches last year for 858 yards. I don't see a path that doesn't go up 25%. He's such a good deep play receiver, and now he's the guy that I feel like you have to use him to challenge safeties. So you can't really use him the way he was used last year. The target rate goes up, yards per reception goes up. He falls in the end zone a couple extra times, and this is where he would belong. And I think he's got upside to be better than this. My only curiosity is how are they going to keep coverage off of him?
It's hard to do when he's the only weapon other than Mark Andrews.
Can you name the two other starters in Baltimore?
Oh, no. Rashad Bateman, is he still around?
Rashad Bateman's the outside guy. Give you a hint. I think this guy's played for 52 teams.
Oh, it's not Tylan Wallace then.
No, he's the 5.
He's the 5. Ooh. It's not coming to me.
Nelson Aguilar.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. He was good for a few catches last year. But it's still not something that
you were really pushing the boundaries of a few. He had 35 catches last year.
Mm-hmm. See? A few. There were a few good ones. Of the 35, there were like 2 or 3 that you saw and you went, hey, that was a good play.
One of the only receivers in the NFL who had a lower yards per reception than Zay Flowers.
Hot.
Yeah. It's not great.
No, not great. But here again, there are going to be passing yards. Lamar Jackson is going to throw to someone. And it'll be Mark Andrews and Zay Flowers.
Yep.
Number 21.
I am way higher on this guy, seemingly, than the industry, and I'm not really sure that I understand why. It's Terry McLaurin. Has he ever played with a quarterback that was as good as Jaden Daniels?
No.
Do you realize that he's been in the league 5 years? He's had 1,919 yards or more in every single season, and he only played 14 games in the one that he had 9 and 19.
Really?
In years that he has played 17 games, he has gone over 1,000 yards every single year on 120 to 130 targets. Now he has a markedly better quarterback, I think, in a much more pass-happy offense, and he's falling. Can you in any way explain that to me? Because it doesn't make a lick of sense to me.
No, I can't really make that make sense. Because I would get that, you might bring him down thinking that the opportunities for touchdowns are going to be maybe less.
I'm glad you said that.
More. Maybe Jaden Daniels is going to, be running it more.
Oh,
I don't know.
How many times in his career has he scored more than 5 touchdowns in a year?
0.
It was once, and it was that rookie year where he only played 14 games.
Awesome.
Yeah, there's no touchdown regret. That's my point. There is literally nothing to regress, and yet he's going lower now than he ever has. That's the one that I look at everybody's list and go, are you smoking crack? I mean, because that's the only explanation I've got is that you temporarily lost your mind. Oh, and by the way, they play one of the easiest schedules in the NFL. Defensively, not overall. I can't make my brain understand what it is that people are seeing.
Yeah. All right, number 22.
Stephon Diggs. This is another one that doesn't make a whole lot of sense to me. Like,
none of it has made sense. Since he got traded to Houston, none of the fantasy discussion has made much sense around that team for me. Other than, C.J. Stroud's going to be a top 5 quarterback at the very least. But it's been, Stephon Diggs, he steps in here with, of course, less experience with C.J. Stroud since he's never played with him before. But is he not far and away the best receiver on this team?
Far and away, no.
Nico's close.
Nico's close. You won't have to wait long to hear Nico's name.
Okay.
I'll give you the same stat. You know how we always talk about Mike Evans? Mike Evans had how many 1,000-yard years to start his career?
10.
Stephon Diggs has 5 in a row.
Mm-hmm.
In every season that he's played more than 14 games, he has gone over 1,000 yards. And he's had 8 or more touchdowns in 4 of those 5 years. Oh, and by the way, his quarterback didn't get worse. We're worrying way too much. His targets will go down. I don't see any path that they don't. He's been over 154 years in a row. I would say that comes down to about 130. Probably doesn't catch 100 passes as he has in the past, but I still think he's going to be 90, 95 to 100. And 6 to 8 touchdowns, and this is exactly where he belongs.
Yep.
Yeah, I will say this: the drafting public seems to be higher on Stephon Diggs than the sharps do. His ADP is 19. I've never seen him higher than 25 on any rankings list, except mine.
It's probably people like me that are out here swaying the rankings when we're drafting because we're looking at it going, wait a minute, this doesn't make any sense. Why is Nico Collins going 2 rounds before Stephon Diggs? This doesn't jive.
Patrick Holt in the YouTube comments asked, is a 1,000-yard year really the benchmark now with 17 games? It's not as impressive as it was, but it's still a reasonably big deal. Last year there were 28 receivers that had 1,000 yards. It's more impressive to have 1,000 yards as a running back than it is to have him as a receiver, but it's still a benchmark. Yep. Travis Kelce didn't have 1,000 yards last year. T.J. Hawkinson didn't. Rashee Rice didn't. Debo Samuel didn't. Sam Laporta didn't. Zay Flowers didn't. So, that is definitely a benchmark.
Yep. Number 23.
Brandon Ayuk. Would you like him better or worse in Pittsburgh? God, worse. The fact you had to think about this shocks me.
I think it's worse.
It's markedly better for me. Markedly better for me. I like Brandon Ayuk better with George Pickens on the opposite side being thrown to by Justin Fields than I do with Debo, Kittle, McCaffrey, all potentially healthy with Brock Purdy. And a really good defense.
It would increase his opportunities.
No doubt.
It's that whole quarterback sucks thing again.
And that falls in, but I would be remiss if I didn't point out Justin Fields led DJ Moore to being the number 6 receiver in fantasy football last year.
Yes. All right, number 24.
Cooper Kupp. This is almost just a dart throw of his range of outcomes are wild. And to me, he is the last guy I see that has the ability to be a top 5 receiver. I'm not saying I in any way think that's going to happen. I just know he can. Yep. And if he had one of those resurgent years, he's the kind of guy that as the 24th receiver off the board, he can win leagues. And I don't really think anybody behind him can do that.
And number 25, final one of the day.
That's where Nico Collins comes in. Nico was special last year, and now he's going to get number 2 coverage. Oh, that's hard to not like. I am a little shocked that people are taking him ahead of Stephon Diggs. I can't wrap my brain around that.
I can't either. I get the argument that they're close. But to me, Collins is not over Stephon Diggs.
Nico Collins and Brandon Ayuk are way more similar receivers than people want to let on. Nico in 2 years had barely broken 900 yards going into last year. He had 3 total touchdowns. Mm-hmm. He had 80 receptions on 109 targets last year. And I'll be honest with you, I think he could very easily do that same thing again. Because I think about 110, 120 targets is where he's going to fall in.
All right, that'll do it for us here in the Sportsocracy today on ESPN Asheville. That'll do it for me this week. Tomorrow, Jeremy will be in here live in the Ingalls studio, carrying the water, as we'll be heading out to do some high school football coverage in Charlotte, me and Brian Hall. And back on Friday for high school football action as well. But enjoy the rest of the week with Flo Stradamus here on ESPN Asheville, 92.9 FM, 880 AM, and 1400. We'll see you then.
A new federal rule means now through August 31st is the last chance
You good?
that don't get tax credit subsidies for lower premiums to lock in real health insurance at lower rates for up to 3 years. If you have health insurance through the marketplace, work, or a healthcare ministry, I'm talking to you. Hummingbird Insurance is offering free consultations. No strings attached, no catch. We've worked with them for years. Get the free quote and decide for yourself. Hummingbird Insurance.
And now another insurance story from
Smart Bunny. Smart Bunny.
Wow, I wonder how much all this costs. Shh. Well, it can't be cheap. Do we even have enough for our own, you-know-what?
Honey, shh. I heard he bought final expense insurance through the Smart Bunny app.
The Smart Bunny app?
Like on your phone?
I know what an app is.
For the love of all things decent, be quiet.
Get up to $25,000 of lifelong coverage for funeral expenses, debts, and other needs for as little as $14 a month. And no medical exam is required. So hop on the Smart Bunny app now and grab some final expense insurance.
Honey, are you buying the insurance, like, right now?
Time is precious.
So true.
Smart Bunny Insurance.
Smart Bunny. Smart Bunny.
Your insurance super app. Insurance is sold by Smart Bunny Insurance Services and underwritten by various companies. Coverage exclusions and limitations may apply.
Cullowhee is the place to be for the Catamount Football home opener on Saturday, September 7th at 1 p.m. as nationally ranked WCU takes on Campbell at Bob Waters Field, E.J. Whitmire Stadium. It's Whiteout Whitmire as all fans are encouraged to wear white. The first 5,000 fans get a free Whiteout t-shirt. Advanced ticket sales start at just $16 for adults and $11 for kids. For tickets, visit catamountsports.com or call 800-34-GO-WCU. Proudly sponsored by Ingalls Markets and iHeartMedia Asheville. Go Cats!
If you're looking to buy, sell, or invest in real estate in the mountains, you need to call the agents at Clarissa Sells WNC, brokered by eXp Realty. Check us out online at clarissasellswnc.com. And did I mention that Clarissa Sells WNC loves teachers? We love teachers so much, we're giving back 25% of our commission at closing. For more information, contact us today at 828-774-6343 or clarissasellswnc@gmail.com.
Do better, be better every day. That's the Parks Promise. Our mission, to improve lives with every interaction. This is JW, General Manager at Parks Ford Hendersonville. Experience the Parks Promise today at parksfordhendersonville.com. That's parksfordhendersonville.com.
This is your Exergen Temporal Scanner weather forecast on ESPN Asheville.
I said it this morning, I'll say it again, more beautiful weather is expected, and I don't see anything changing here except temperatures over the next few days, maybe through the weekend, at least the early part of next